This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief, Sierra 117, and you're watching Xbox Ultimate. Now, finish the fight. Chief out.
For anybody watching YouTube right now, look at me. Look at me. I am your captain now. Okay? I am your captain. That's right. Welcome, everybody. Xbox Ultimate, episode 83. Who's got the big boy chair? That's right. Pong Soul's got the big boy chair tonight because Mr. Snotnose can barely talk tonight. Okay? So he gave me the chair just like a PM in the PM. So welcome, everybody. It's a great Friday night. Thank you all for being here. We've got a great show planned, even though it was a light week on the news side of things. You know, we're going to talk about everything that's good here, and who knows what other topics are going to come into play with this group. So anyways, love you all. Thanks for being here tonight. We got a great guest, and I'm going to start with this awesome member of the community, Mr. Drawn TJ. If you've been in chats, you have seen him. He is everywhere at times. Drawn TJ, welcome to Xbox Ultimate. Thank you for joining the family tonight, the Great Eight. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Pong. Thanks. Thanks for having me on, bro. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Great to have you here. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on some of these topics, man, but it is a pleasure to have you here.
Too.
Yeah, I know. We're all excited to get down to business. I can tell you that much. And let's go. Ladies first, as always, of course. So we'll start with Caitlin, the wizard behind the scenes who makes all the beautiful graphics, all the amazing thumbnails, not only for this show, but a million others that Mav has. And she's got to take care of this big baby tonight. As he's
she's
just
not first in your heart.
No, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Anyways, Caitlin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I am just as sick as Mav, like I told y'all, but I'm handling it a lot better.
Obviously. If you were in the lead chair, you'd be just fine. You would not given up control. But Mav, well, that's a whole nother story. Anyways, yeah, I know you are. Lupa. How are you doing, my dear? How has your week been?
I'm doing well. My week's been good. Thank you very much. Play some games, loving it. It's nice to have Drawn TJ here, and good to be with the family again. Looking forward to it. It's Friday. It's Xbox Ultimate. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on. I love that. That's the way we start our Friday nights. And of course, we have Lore Master Jasper. That's right, everybody. Lore Master Jasper is gracing us with his presence on a Friday night. If you haven't checked out his new intro for his channel, please go do it. Jasper, how's your week been, brother?
Pretty good. Just finishing Lego Star Wars, or trying to finish it, I guess. I'm like 60% of the way done, so still got like probably a day left in the game.
Day left in the game, really?
Left. That's how he measures his time.
Yeah, I don't know how you do this, man. I don't know how you do it. But anyways, that's awesome, man. Glad you're enjoying Lego Star Wars for sure. Cool. I've seen a lot of cool videos. It looks like they actually, and tell me if this is true. Does it seem like they went to Capcom and stole some of the Devil May Cry team and had them put moves in it? Because I've seen some combos, like,
I mean, like
crazy.
There's combos, but like I just smash the X button because that's like the quickest way to kill enemies.
Okay,
in that
fine.
game.
You're the wrong person to ask how that did. Okay, that's fine, Jasper. That's fine. Mav, Snotnose. What's going on, brother?
Nothing much, dude.
How's your week been outside of being sick, outside of working your ass off, outside of getting, how should we say it? Peer pressured into buying Godfall for $30 and playing with me. How the hell are you?
Yeah, doing good, man. I got to take the day off today, so it was good. It's been a while since they had like a full day off and didn't really have to do anything. So that was pretty awesome. We got to play some games today, dude. Because luckily for me, you got to have the day off too, right?
Yeah, I had I had a half day, but same difference. I got to play, so that's cool. I had a day at home. It was nice to be able to play some games on a Friday before the show.
And I mean, like, I took all these drugs, and I feel like I can semi-talk now, because like an hour ago, I like could barely speak. You know, like, I mean, I can speak, but I sound weird as shit. You know, so but yeah, I'm happy to let you have the host seat tonight, man. This is gonna be interesting to see if we go as far left with, like, you know, our Pong Soul at the reins. You know, he's gonna try and keep things in check more on this show.
I am a task master.
Yeah, Fico just joined, so that's gonna.
Oh, you don't think I didn't see that man just join? Really?
There he is.
And we have the mellow fellow from outer space, CLoWnZ. What's going on, brother? How you been this week, man?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Playing a little bit of Tiny Tina, thanks to a very good friend of mine, and what else? Halo Infinite.
Halo Infinite, huh? Funny thing is, we're going to talk about Halo Infinite tonight.
I know.
So I know. But anyways, great show. We're looking forward to this. We don't have the full crew tonight, as always. Some people are out. If you drop by PM in the PM, you might have caught the rare and mysterious 3-Bit. He actually appeared last night. So shout out to 3-Bit. Obviously, shout out to Lady. We love you guys. We miss you. And can't wait to get you back on a show again and be able to talk some of this good gaming news. But that's not what we're here for. It's Friday night. We're here to have a good time. This is Xbox Ultimate. So we're going to get down to business. Now, Mav sent me a list of topics, and I deleted them.
Yeah, we can do whatever the hell you want, man. That's up to you.
No, that's fine. No, I've got him back here again. So Caitlyn is the best wife in the world. Discuss. That was the first topic. So has anybody got any thoughts on how Caitlyn's the best wife in the world? No?
Well, she puts up with Mav, so that's
I don't know how she
plus
puts
one.
up with Mav personally.
Got a good heart.
I'd have murdered him by now.
Well, she almost has a few times. I'm resilient.
What are we talking about? Sorry.
You.
We were talking about you. I said the first
10-year-olds in here.
Oh, I said the first topic that Mav gave me was that Caitlyn is the best wife in the world, and we were supposed to discuss that.
That's a true story.
Oh, let's go.
And second topic was Caitlyn's the best cook in the world too. So I don't know. This is gonna be a Caitlyn heavy show, I think. So that's where we're going. No, we're gonna get down to business. So with some Halo Infinite. Look, been a lot of discourse in the community, outside of the community. We got publications writing what seems to be weekly about Halo Infinite and where it stands and what can be done to, quote unquote, fix it, whether or not it's a dead game already, all these crazy talks that are going on around Halo Infinite. But 343 came out and decided to tease season 2, I believe, starting May the 3rd. Is that correct?
It's my birthday.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Birthday present. May the 3rd. So they did a nice little sizzle reel showing off some of the highlights. Of course, all the Halo diehards dove through that and picked out all the new armor that they showed in that video and kind of picked it apart and that kind of stuff. But it was a pretty exciting video. Actually, I watched it and I thought it was pretty cool how they were doing that. Obviously, can't wait to see the roadmap and want to see more about what they're going to entail. So let's start here. Drawn, you are our guest this evening. So are you still, number one, are you still playing Halo Infinite, sir? And if you are, how are you enjoying it? And if you're not, is season 2 going to get you back to playing Halo Infinite? What do you think?
Yeah, Pong. I have been playing Halo once in a while, but it's lost its lackluster. Like it doesn't have enough content. And season 2 might actually get me back into it fully again.
Nice. And I failed to mention that it is I believe the season is Lone Wolves. Is that correct? Yeah. So what could they do to get you back? What would get you back into Halo and say, okay, now I can see what they're doing here. Now I know where they're going. What would get you? What would you get back to saying Halo is Halo again, and I like playing it?
Well, personally, if I could ask them and like, you know, through an email or something, they would respond. I would actually ask them, you know, why don't you take a poll on what the consumer wants more or the fans want? Do you want, you know, because people want maps, but
Yep.
people want co-op. So
Right.
which one's closer to being done, the co-op or the Forge? If the Forge is almost done, push that out first so people can create maps. If you're not willing to put out the maps, at least put out Forge. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you that a lot of people have been saying that, and obviously we've got some idea that Forge is going to be later,
Season 3
rather than sooner.
Yeah. Forge will be season 3 kickoff is what they're aiming for, and
Right.
they're aiming for
co-op sometime in the middle.
co-op in the middle of season 2.
With a delay like that, it better be a big upgrade compared to the other Forge we've ever used.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
agree.
said it is.
Yeah, and Forge is so important and vital to the community, just from the standpoint that not everybody dives into Forge, obviously, but a lot of great content comes out of Forge that kind of supplements. Yeah, great. That's awesome, man, because you're one of those people then that's kind of supplement the Halo community with different, you know, gameplay, all that kind of stuff that people ask for. And while 343 is still working on new stuff, Forge has always been a big deal. And that was one of my biggest disappointments with Halo Infinite. Even though I'm not a Forge guy, I knew what that could do for Halo Infinite while they were working on other things. So glad to hear that's going to be finally coming out. But Lone Wolves season 2 is looking really cool. Caitlin, did anything catch your eye about Lone Wolves? I know you guys have still been playing Halo Infinite outside of your Grand Theft Auto addiction.
I actually haven't been playing much Halo because I'm so addicted to these.
Okay, all right. So you're fully all right. But are you excited for season 2, Caitlin?
I am, but I don't know anything about it. I
Okay.
haven't watched anything of it.
I know quite a bit about it.
Oh, we're gonna get to you, Psycho Know-It-All. Don't worry, brother. Okay.
He's been deep diving on this.
Like, all I've seen is that one like promotional picture.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's gonna be good. And if you haven't watched it, again, it was just a teaser. They didn't really lay out anything. Like I said, the Halo fanatics went through it and kind of picked stuff out. Lupa, did you see anything that you liked in there?
Well, not liked exactly. I mean, the co-op's still not coming at the beginning. That's very piss poor, in my opinion. And but it is nice that there's little things in there that's showing that the flood might be coming. So, and we'll be playing against the flood. Plus, there's some sort of story going along with it. So, you know, I'm hopeful. Let's put it that way, because I am one of those that did lose interest. I loved the campaign, absolutely adored it, but I just lost interest. There's so many better games that came out since, in my opinion, that drew me away. Hopefully this will bring me back.
Good.
You know, a question about it. Is there new maps for multiplayer?
One new map so far.
Well, there's one big team map and one arena map.
One arena map, one big team. I just read.
Yeah.
But it's not much though, is it really?
No.
Considering the amount of maps that are in Master Chief Collection, you know.
Well, that's 6 games, so.
Yeah, I know, but like, you know, they had them. Why not just put them back out there?
Well, you'd think that 343 would. Yeah, you think 343 would look into doing that. It really is questionable with, you know, again, Joseph's got a good handle on things. And I think he came out today and mentioned it, that there's, you know, more to be shown and there's some stuff that he's excited about, which is great. I mean, that's fantastic. And he's been doing a nice job of coming out and talking about those things and trying to kind of quell some of the community concerns. But I really think overall 343 really does need to get their roadmap nailed down so they can be crystal clear about where this is going and what they're going to be dropping to us for sure. You know, it just would help everybody, including them, to quiet down. And again, I know it's not everybody. I know it's still a small portion of the community that gets really loud about these things. But at the same time, this was a big game. It was one of the biggest games in the history of the industry, and they need to make sure that they're telling all of their fans that they are going to do everything possible, even if we know it. Just obviously, they're not going to let Halo die, and Halo Infinite's going to come back. And when they drop new, game modes or whatever the case may be, people are going to come back in droves. But they still need to be crystal clear about that and kind of show people exactly what's going on. I think they need to do a better job with that. But this is a start, at least coming into season 2. We'll see where they go from here. Lore Master.
Yep.
What do you think about season 2, brother? Lone Wolves. Mean anything to you?
The Lone Wolves, the title of it is kind of interesting because there's a leaked game mode coming out called Last Spartan Standing.
Yeah.
So like you're the last one, you're the lone wolf. That's kind of like, it's supposed to be like a BR type mode or something.
I was just going to ask, are we getting a battle royale, or is this going to be just kind of a spin-off battle royale? What do you think?
Well, like looking at the leaked settings, it seems kind of like BR settings. So that's what everyone's kind of assuming. It's going to be a BR style game mode, maybe smaller, not like 100 people, but like maybe 16 to 24 people like in one map.
And so do you think that they're going to? Yeah, go ahead, Psycho. What do you think?
No, I was gonna say it's probably a BR light, something
Light,
something like Jasper already mentioned with big team.
Yeah,
having I think what is it, 24 players that they have right now.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's gonna be the out of the 24, who's the lone wolf. So pretty much be good.
But also like lone wolves back in the day meant like going into matchmaking solo. Like for Halo 3, it was Lone Wolves was the search playlist, and you go in solo and like just try to fight everyone to level up.
Right. Okay. And did I hear, Psycho, did I hear correctly? Did I read something where they're going to, I think there was a little bit of information that dropped that they're going to have, you can earn up to 1,000.
Credits.
Credits. Yeah. Credits.
From the battle pass.
That should have been
battle
in
pass.
season 1.
It should have been correct. Yeah. Right, Matt? Because we've seen it in Call of Duty forever. Right?
Yeah, Call of Duty, Apex.
All of them.
I mean, all of them have ways of earning in-game currency with the battle pass, and that's like would have softened the blow for a lot of the people that are like really upset about the amount of the cost of some of the items. If you had a way to earn money to be able to get some of the stuff that you like, I honestly think that it depends on the length of the battle pass, right? If 1,000 is enough, you know what I mean? Because their battle pass lasted all the way from November to May. That's 6 months, right?
Right.
So at only 1,000 over a 6-month period is not very much. I'm hoping the next season
enough to buy the battle pass back or save it.
It is, but if you want to buy like the cosmetics and stuff, I would hope that like the other seasons coming are not going to be 6 months apart and more like 3 months, right? Which I think is probably the intention. You're right. Originally. So if it's a 3-month gap, that makes a lot more sense. But for 6 months, I don't think 1,000 is enough to bridge that gap. But besides that, all the other little things that they're adding, should add to like a better experience. Like from day one, we kept saying, like, hey, you can't like expect 100% right away on a free-to-play game. That and everybody has these expectations of a Halo, and I get it because Halo's one of the biggest franchises of all time. It's one of all of our favorite franchises, or one of, if not my favorite, 100%.
Pong's a casual.
Pong's a casual. He's made that clear many times. But they keep, they keep tweaking things, and kind of like we said, like right away, they're gonna keep tweaking, they're gonna keep adding until they get things right because Halo's too important. They're not gonna like write this off and be like, oh well, we messed up. They're not gonna pull like a EA with Battlefield or the 2042, or like some of these other franchises like Anthem, stuff like that. They're not gonna like just, oh, this was a failure, write it off. They're gonna keep working on this and fix it, and that's why I've never been like doom and gloom or like worrisome and stuff, because you can already see with this announcement and this trailer, there's a lot of excitement already coming back now just because the season 2 content was here. It was announced. So all these people that were like, oh man, where's the content? Where's the content? We're like, they already said it was coming like in May. So I don't know what you guys are expecting. Why are you all freaking out right now? Because we already knew this was going to be a thing, and now we find out it's May and everybody's like, again, it was for the 3rd time they've told us this, and now everybody's excited again. So it's just kind of, I knew that there was going to be waves with this, and You know,
Yeah.
I think they did a good job with this announcement, with the little bit of corrections that they're making that are not like just related to 100% the maps and the content. It's like the rewards and stuff, like the pass. You know, the event passes. They made changes to theater mode. You know, all of this stuff. I think is gonna help improve the experience overall.
I feel like
No,
there was a missed opportunity though, but like when the Halo show launched, I feel like they could have done like a Tenrai event around, or like similar to the Tenrai event around the Halo show, and like maybe earn one of the silver team like armor suits like that, because that's what the Tenrai event's for, is to get like fantasy suits that's not Halo canon. Like if they had like a tie-in with the Halo show for like a week event, like that would have been like huge. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
Are you describing like
they
Quantum
weren't
Break?
thinking.
How they did that?
not necessarily just do like a
Quantum
weekly
Break was
event.
a like
Yeah.
direct tie-in, like
Yeah.
like that. But I see what
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, Jasper, as far as that would have been a smart play. Like obviously the show isn't based on the games, but they could have
Yeah.
still introduced something to kind of tie
Because that's
in
what
the
the
two.
samurai thing is. Like it's
Yeah.
not Halo canon, it's fantasy
Right.
stuff. Like
And they could have done that easily, and it would have been kind of cool. And who's to say they're not going to, right? Again, Staten's alluded that there's stuff that he's excited to talk about and that kind of stuff. It would only make sense that we're going to see it at some point. Season 2, obviously, kind of. How long?
when
does the
everything's farther down the road.
yeah, exactly. How long does the show run through? When
It's
is it
going to
actually-
finish May 19th.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that'd be perfect. Like if they do have something, again, it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be some huge thing, but just a little tie-in would be really cool.
What if
Psycho-
they did like?
Go ahead.
Sorry for what if
No,
they
no,
did,
no,
like,
go ahead.
Yeah, it's my fucking show. I can say what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
What if they
Not
had
tonight?
What if they had like at the end of an episode or like randomly like in a commercial break or something, like a QR code pop up, right? And you could
Yeah.
like take it, scan it with your phone, and then you get like cosmetic items or like credits, you know, some shit like that. I think that could be a pretty interesting thing.
There's
across
so many
markets.
things you
Or
can do
they could tie in
nowadays.
early access to Forge or something, or to a new mode.
Yeah, they already have Forge
do that.
actually out to like testers right now. So there's already
Mhm.
people
Well,
working on
I'm
it.
just
but-
saying, you know, as a way to entice people, because people will be like, oh, I can scan this QR code, and now I can jump into a test and test a new feature that they want tested.
Yeah, you could do a lot of different things like that to incentivize people
Yeah.
to check out the show as well, right? So there's a lot
Yeah.
of different ways you could go. It's a great idea.
You could have put a QR code on Chief's ass when they had, you
could.
know,
You
like-
could do that.
you know,
They
it's
should just put a
little-
QR code. That's what they should have done. First episode, when he takes off his helmet, don't show his face. Just make it a QR code.
There you
That'd be
go.
awesome.
That would be awesome. The Chief is actually a QR
Just
code.
JPEG it as
But whose
a
ass are we
QR
getting
code.
next episode? Second episode we had that one chick's ass. Then third episode we have Chief's ass. Whose ass we getting next?
As a prophet of mercy. How about
Oh,
Oh Jesus!
what is
Oh,
that?
God. Okay.
Y'all haven't been curious? I mean,
No, Psycho, save us. Mav's going crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, let's
All
go.
right.
Psycho,
So-
talk to everybody.
Psycho
Lone
to save
Wolves.
us?
all right.
Psycho's not gonna say.
I know,
this.
that's a
Season
scary
2.
thought, isn't it?
Right? I know. It's crazy. No, I'm excited because season 2, here we go. You know, they're going to be coming out with all the ultimate challenges that people have been complaining because they've been giving us emblems
And
and stupid just backdrops. They are no longer going to be the ultimate weekly challenge.
Yeah,
reward.
that shit
So
sucks.
what they're going to be is going to be armor coatings, visors, stances, which what
That's
people
kinda lame.
want.
I don't want to
Stances.
stance.
You don't want to make
Well, a stance is better than having the third, emblem in the freaking group of.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that.
Just go back to Halo Reach customization, please.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw it, but they are now being able to swap the different different armor coatings, visors with the different
Armor core.
armor
Oh,
cores.
really?
Yeah.
Megan! Haley! Oh my god.
So,
What was that?
so they are.
Made her
He's having
happy.
a sleepover. And
So,
Oh my god.
so visors, armor coating, and helmets are what they're going to focus on right now because it's the easiest out of everything that they could do to, I guess, you can swap between, and then they're going to pick between other things, I guess, like maybe like the gloves and other things that you can, like knee pads, things like that. So they said some things cannot be swapped out, but I mean that's fine. But also the kits also, they're gonna break those down so you could use individual pieces like
God
the
damn
helmet,
time.
visor, and armor coating to your Halo. So now if you bought like the $10 armor coating that I bought at the day one, now I could possibly take that visor or the paint job and use it on my character, or you can not use their stupid emblem that they have, and you can put.
Let me ask you a question. Is this closer to what they originally showed that everybody was kind of up in arms about when they showed all the customization, and then they kind of just?
This is the original vision that we.
Is this the original one that we had that whole video where they were showing we could mix and match and do that? Okay, all right.
Yeah. So this is their. So now they must have worked whatever that was. They had more time to work on this. So, you know, it's just crazy how long it's taken for them to get to this point. We're going in May, so that's 5 months after release.
Yeah,
and they were finally getting some of the things that were kind of promised day one. So they're slow at the gate, but most free to play, I guess it's the same thing. Everything's like a slow start, and then it just, I mean, look at them now. So I'm hoping by the end of season 2, we have everything. I'm hoping we get Forge. I'm hoping that we get co-op by the end of season 2.
I think that's season 3 co-op, but
yeah.
They say middle of season 2 is what they're aiming for, but we'll see.
I think Forge is going to be 2023 personally. I think they're going to push it.
So you think season 3 will be 2023?
See, that's the crazy thing.
November.
That's the crazy thing. Like this, a lot of these issues is because of Xbox One. It's what it is.
They should drop the old Xbox.
Well, what they should have done is release the Series X version and say, hey, we had to delay the Xbox One version. We're sorry. But if you want to if you want to play these modes, then possibly you have to stream it to utilize, through the xCloud to be able to, do Forge and co-op. So, I mean, that's one workaround if they have to do that. But at least this way, we would have the game modes already for everyone who adopted to the next generation. So, I mean, that's what's really holding everything back is Xbox One. It's just the RAM is just, there's not enough allocated for this heavy for.
Didn't they say that? Wait, hold on. And this is just an honest to goodness question because I'm curious about this, because they told us they created Slipspace Engine specifically so they could go ahead and get this to work on the older, because it was so malleable, right? It was so good.
Yes.
They told us that flat out. that was one of the reasons why.
But I think it's just because everything with what's going on with with Halo, they had to allocate with the RAM. I don't think that they could target the spec to get it to run on Xbox One. I think they have to go in and finagle it for Xbox One. It could work.
Oh, that's obvious. That's obvious.
So they thought it was going to be okay, and then they're like, "Oh shit, we spoke."
It just lends credence, I think, to everything that we were hearing, that it was all hands on deck to get this thing out the door from the single player campaign side of things. Obviously, we know the multiplayer they were polishing and it was looking great. It was fantastic, but that single player was obviously giving them problems. And they got all hands on deck to get that thing out the door on time. And that's why we see these delays, because people that may have potentially been working on the season stuff were pulled and they were put on this. Again, it's all assumption, it's all speculation, but I think it lends a lot of credence to that, why they're so far behind on the seasons, why we didn't, again, the problems with the co-op, trying to figure that out. Obviously, Forge being a big, huge undertaking because supposedly they are adding so much to Forge. All of that kind of just played play
So
the different roles. To
343
make it
kind of
nice.
seems like a revolving door studio. Like I always see people
They
leaving
kind
and
of
joining.
contract a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's a large studio, but they also contract
Yeah.
like a lot. They
Yeah.
I mean, also all the issues they had with Big Team, I think, caught them by surprise, and it took a lot of resources trying to figure out what the hell is going on there. You know, because like when it launched, it was fine, and then all of a sudden it just stopped working. Like a couple
Yeah.
weeks after launch, it was like it's kind of
Yeah.
strange, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if you know, I think the biggest complaint from most people, besides besides co-op not being there right away, and besides Forge not being part of it, like we know what they've already given us timetables on that. I think the biggest complaint and the thing I'm most curious about is like the just 2 maps more at the launch of season 2, because there was a lot that was kind of leaked before with a lot of the code names and stuff, and I think a lot of people are wondering, are they just holding that back because it's part of like, their roadmap or whatever for the free to play model? And I'm wondering if they're only introducing 2 at the launch of season 2, if maybe to keep people happier throughout for new content throughout the course of a season, if that may be why we're only getting 2 at launch of season 2, and maybe we're going to get new maps throughout season 2 with some of these events potentially, right? Because
I think they would have announced that.
I thought they would have, I think they would have too, but it would be so smart for them to do that, I think, because if you had, a big event and people in Halo they care about the maps, right? When you have a new map, it just creates a lot of excitement because it's like a new arena to play in. You got to learn everything about it, like the whole community kind of gets behind it. And it's just a great way to draw engagement more than anything else, I think. And if you were to have that implemented in the middle of the seasons and for some of these events, I think that would go a long ways. And I'm wondering if that could be something they may consider. I don't know.
It could be, obviously. Just again, they just got so much work to do. I just want to see them be able to state clearly from here on out. Again, we're past it. It launched the way it launched. It was missing what it was missing. It had the issues, but they got to get to a good spot, during season 2 where they can really get down to business. Because again, just like we talked about, with a game like Gran Turismo trying to be games as a service, even though they charge $70, right? There's roadmaps from other games that have kind of dictated for about the past 5 to 10 years on how this needs to be done and how it should be done for communities that you're trying to develop within those types of games. And Halo Infinite is no different. In fact, Halo Infinite, as we always talk about, has some unfair expectations on top of the norm, right? And I think that it's just important that 343 gets a handle on things, and Joseph and his team can come out and clearly tell the community exactly what's going on so that people quiet down. But like we talked about, even the loud people, even the people that have been complaining, they're all going to come back when this new stuff starts dropping. And again, 343 knows that as well, that they're going to get that community back if they can get consistency out of it going forward from season 2 on. Great, because then people are going to stick around. And so I think that's obviously what they're looking to do here. They got a little break because they are Halo. Other games, if this was a new IP that nobody cared about, nobody knew about, nobody had any emotional attachment to, then we'd be looking at it like an Outriders, right? But because it's Halo, they do have some leeway and people will rejoin as soon as Halo is starting to look promising again. And that's exactly what's going to happen with season 2. Because like Matt pointed out, everybody was getting excited again today just from that little teaser, right? So that's the way it works with Halo. So I think it's good. I just hopefully, like I said, we see more and we get a good roadmap for everybody.
I think just people are ready to raise the white flag too much with this franchise. It's like all the time, man. It's like any little negative thing or any kind of lack of anything. It's like doomsday scenario, and you hear the masses scream from everywhere, like, what the fuck's going on with our franchise, Right. And it's like, once the new thing comes out, everybody's just back on track and like, okay, this is the coolest shit ever. Holy moly. It's, I always see that and I anticipating it. So when people are like going doom and gloom, I'm like, hey, it's going to be fine because of this model. This model with Halo is a big change. Right, the free-to-play model. It's a huge change. It's going to take a lot of adjusting and people getting used to it. And it's going to come with this territory of like this content's going to drop and it's going to get stale. Then we're going to get new content. It's going to drop and it's going to get stale. But over time, that stuff builds upon itself, right? So when you look in like 3, 4, 5 years down the road, like Halo Infinite will be in better shape than any other Halo we've ever seen before because of this model. It's not great as far as day one a lot of times, but for progression and growth, you can see like things like Sea of Thieves and other
And it took
games
them
like
5 years to get Master Chief Collection going. So
Fortnite, Apex Legends, these games
Yep.
like are still strong and growing, because of the model that has taken place, because of the free to play model. That's why they did it. It's not because they're not, it's not to upset people and to like try and hold back content or anything like that. It's just because it's best for the game. It's best for the franchise overall to keep the community healthy in a longer period of time. Now they got to do better because this is their first foray into like a free to play multiplayer shooter. Like they haven't done this before. They got to do better, especially with the expectations of Halo. Like they had a long time, right? They made mistakes, but overall, is it going to be fine? It's going to be completely fine because it's Halo, and they're going to pour all the resources into making sure that this thing is going to stand the test of time. And there's going to be shit tons of content coming out over the years, and we're going to be super happy. Like, think about year 4 or year 5, how many maps, how much customization, how much content, how many modes, and all of this stuff are going to be in this game that may have never been in any Halo before it, right? And it's all going to be because of this model that a lot of people don't like right now. So that's just the way it is,
I mean, it's a start with at least season 2. We're getting the customization that we're kind of been asking for, and we're getting, other aspects of the game that we've been nitpicking. And now 343 is listening to the fans. And that's a positive thing that they listen to us and they're like, all right, we hear you. It takes time. They can't just flip a switch and have this shit out the next day. It's going to take a little bit of time to switch things out, fix them. But once this starts rolling and it's consistently on its emotion, it's going to be a great experience for everybody. And they're going to forget what happened season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And look at Apex. It right now is probably one of the best BR battle royales out there. If you talk, but when it first came out, that was not the case. Now it is. So I mean, that's with everything.
At the same time, like if you compare it to like Call of Duty, like Call of Duty has 10 studios working on Call of Duty. That's why they can pump out content month after month. And like Halo, it's just 343 and then whoever else they asked for help. So like maybe Microsoft needs to put in another studio.
Well, they got they brought in
Affinity,
yeah,
but
that
maybe they need like maybe they need to start pulling in more people.
Id Tech?
What was that?
Or id?
Yeah. What about the id Tech people? Aren't they like?
Oh,
they
they're
creating
working on
one
something.
last game and then they're done for a while?
Yeah. The thing is, I think if they do stuff, they need to pull resources
them.
and out from outside or form new things, because I don't want to take any of these other teams away from their projects either, because you have some of with all these acquisitions, they have some of the best creators out there in the world making all different kinds of games. I don't want to do what Activision did and force a lot of these guys to work on one project. I would rather them go out and get some other assistance developers, kind of like we've seen, like those teams that kind of assist on projects and stuff more.
That's always the balancing act, because I mean they already pulled people for Halo during the whole entire coalition. Turn 10 got pulled. So they already did that to get the game out the door. Now at this point, I'm more in line with Mav. Even though you have all this talent that could help, you want them working on their games. I mean, Microsoft and Xbox need to get to the point where these studios are now pumping out consistent content, because they're still not there yet. Again, the first half of this year is for first party stuff is non-existent, and they can't have that anymore. Phil's talked about that, and he realizes that. So no, I just think at this point you really do need to go for outside help. If you think that you do need it, you definitely got to go spend the money and go.
Yeah, I'm just saying, maybe get outside help for like maybe a year just to get that back end
Mhm.
content like developed, so like you're not behind like a whole year on just like
Do you think there
content
may
trying to
be
catch up.
something more to the certain affinity thing?
Yeah.
Well, the rumor is they're just making a mode.
Yeah,
Not
but
like
maybe
that
that's just the
much,
first
so.
thing. Maybe that's just the first thing, right? Maybe that's just the first step. You know, maybe this was part of that whole thing. You know, where like Microsoft is funding potentially their project. That was a rumor, like this next Monster Hunter style game, right? That
Yeah.
where they had a project, and maybe like it's part of like, hey, you know, we're gonna fund your project, and we're, you know, and you develop this amount of resources towards Halo. We'll start with the one mode and then go from there, you know, type thing. I don't know, because Certain Affinity has a history with Halo. So if I was to
Yeah.
look at any franchise or any developers, there's two that I can think of that's a go-to for Halo, and that's Certain Affinity and that's Gearbox, right? As far as like help out with doing stuff, because Gearbox developed Halo on a PC before,
Yeah, they ported the PC version.
and then you know, Certain Affinity's made several maps and content for Halo in the past, you know, map packs and stuff. So they have a history with it, and also the founder of Certain Affinity's name's Max Holberman, who was actually on the original Halo team at Bungie, and is also the godfather of matchmaking as we know it on consoles, right? So I think that's just a good fit if they were to go with any team. And Certain Affinity is one of those go-to studios from multiple publishers and developers to get assistance with their multiplayer. Like id, when they weren't part of Xbox, used them before with Doom multiplayer. Other teams have used them before for help on their multiplayer franchises. So I'm thinking, like, I don't know if there's anything more to it, but just starting with the mode that they're helping out with, it may be a sign of things that maybe there could be an acquisition or something down the
Yeah.
line for them to come in and be more hands-on, you know, with Halo in the future. I don't know.
And maybe this mode, maybe it's like something bigger that will stand on its own, so it won't have to be like all the way into like Halo
Yeah.
Infinite.
It
Like
could be
maybe
like
if
a
it's like,
firefight type thing, or you know,
yeah, or like maybe like a
Hey,
bigger,
can I make a suggestion?
bigger
So if it is a BR mode, let's just say it is. Now, if they want to do it right, I would have the players drop in through drop pods, and then have the swarm, you know, that comes in, you know, that makes the circle smaller, have it as the flood. And then they could have like aliens down on the actual map where you're fighting them. So that's like Warzone kinda from like Halo 5 Guardians, which was a great mode just besides stupid transactions. But very much they can do that, and just it actually might beat COD actually in terms of COD's Warzone, because that would
That's a
be
tough ask.
bonkers.
That is a
would be
tough ask,
awesome.
but yeah, it would be awesome. I think you're onto something, TJ, for sure, because that's an idea that, you know, when we first started, way before Halo ever launched, Infinite ever came out, we were talking about the potential of that BR mode. And that is a great idea with the flood. It fits in with the whole narrative and all that kind of stuff. It'd be really cool to see. It's going to be interesting, to say the least, to see what 343's take on a battle royale is, with all the
If it's
examples that
like
are out there.
I'm gonna be happy.
Well, yeah, I know a lot of people would be, right? A lot of Halo fans would probably think that's pretty cool. It's just going to be interesting because, again, 343, this is new territory for them, like Mav said, and a BR mode is going to be new territory as well. And there's so many examples. What are they going to do to differentiate from the rest that are out there? How are you going to make it unique outside of it being in the Halo universe, which of course is a draw, but at the same time, what's your hook going to be, right? What are you going to do to separate yourself from the rest of them? You know, and that's just one aspect. And, you know, again, on top of it, they got to get all this other stuff implemented, right? that's the whole thing. Yeah.
Just look at, like I said, look at Halo 5 Guardians.
Yep.
Warzone was one of the most played modes.
Yeah, I loved it.
PvP versus PvE.
Yep.
And you could get like special tanks, special vehicles.
Yep.
That was so unique, and that actually, it's still not dead on Halo 5.
They just had that stupid card system that nobody
Yeah.
likes.
Yeah.
That's the only issue.
And the
with
money
that.
issue. Yep. Yep.
The
They
rec
could easily
packs.
get away with
No
they could
rec
do away with-
packs.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
rec packs.
I want to say
I don't think they're
thanks-
gonna ever go back to
I
that.
want to say
Otherwise, it's a
thanks
great mode.
real quick to Lupa for hitting us up earlier with the $5 super chat. or 5 pounds. Sorry, Lupa. I have to make sure.
What do you
that-
mean? Lupa's on the panel. What the hell is she
She
doing
hit us
in here?
with a super chat so I could get some medicine. She said this is for Mav and Caitlin to use for medicine. Get better
Yeah.
soon, guys. Thanks, Lupa. Love you.
Thanks,
You're
Lupa.
welcome.
I'm
I
gonna
was just-
send you guys something.
I got some earlier
You're gonna
today,
get one
so
from me.
that'll pay for some of that. Thank you.
That's hilarious. Good stuff. Well, at the end of the day, I think we're all in the same boat here. We all want to see Halo Infinite successful.
Just
We want
needs
to make
time.
sure it just needs time.
Yeah, it'll be
And that's
all right.
not what people want to hear. But at the end of the
No.
day, yeah, 2 years from now, whatever the case may be, next year, when things are all settled in, everything's implemented, I think we'll all look back at this. And again, gamers have short-term memories. And if they do it right,
Very.
and they get everything that everybody's kind of expecting out of this into this game, people still remember the how it started, but at the end of the day, it's not going to make a difference, right? People are going to be
No.
playing and loving it, enjoying themselves, and that's all that matters to
Yeah.
gamers. So
They're not.
yeah,
They're not
but-
going to remember when they're having so much fun,
Yeah.
and it's
I mean,
they're like, holy crap, this is
Call of Duty
amazing.
Warzone didn't even launch with Modern Warfare. It was 6 months later. So,
yes,
and look at
correct.
it now.
Yeah, they look at it now. Correct. Yep, absolutely. Great point. So great opening topic, fam. Loved it. And we didn't get left at all, which is great. We didn't go left. We didn't get off.
Damn it. Pong's reins are too tight.
That's right. Taskmaster Pong is here. So even Psycho came in and did not go left, which is crazy. So anyways,
It's still
look,
early.
where we're going to go next here. Yeah, it is early. You're right. Where we're going to go
Always
next
on the
here.
left.
Gar- Let's see, Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy, man. This is an interesting one. So for everybody, obviously, who knows, Eidos Montreal released Guardians of the Galaxy to actually pretty great reviews from a critical acclaim standpoint. And it was slowly but surely kind of built up hype. And then Square Enix came out and did their usual thing that they do to their Western developers. From everything that we see, they only do it to their Western developer teams, meaning Crystal Dynamics and Eidos. They came out and said, man, but those sales, they weren't up to par. The sales were just lacking. They threw them underneath the bus again. And so what happens? Square cuts a deal with Xbox and throws it in the Game Pass. And all of a sudden, a lot of people, including myself, discovered it, right? I knew about it, obviously, but it just wasn't a game I was going to pay for. But it shows up in Game Pass, and the Game Pass effect starts to take hold. Well, BAFTA Awards just happened the past couple days here, and Eurogamer had sat down with the devs from Eidos Montreal, developers of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and they asked them about what's going on, because we got some articles today from this interview talking about some of their quotes and how Game Pass has brought new life to Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm going to read through the first part of this interview. Again, this is from Eurogamer, done by Victoria Kennedy. She starts out by saying, last year, Eidos Montreal released Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, its own original take on Marvel's oddball spacefaring family, to largely positive reviews, which praised its single-player focus, character work, and humor, but it remained unclear how well the game had performed commercially. And in February, publisher Square Enix said that the title had undershot expectations, quote unquote. Ahead of the BAFTA Video Game Awards last night, she goes on to say, I sat down with members of the Guardians of the Galaxy team to discuss the game's emotional storytelling, where the series could go next, and some unexpected tussles with raccoons. We're not going to get into all the raccoon garbage, but we're going to read the first part here. So she goes on, but first, the issues of those sales, on which the team said it had no regrets. Quote, I think it's a great ride. It's emotional. It has a lot of qualities, said Guardian of the Galaxy senior creative director Jean-Francois Dugas. Is the game perfect? Like any game? No, I don't think it's perfect. It can always be better. but is it a great ride? And is it something this year or last year that you played that is unlike everything else? And is it worth spending your time on? I honestly think so from a game standpoint. Douglas continued, I have no regrets. We did everything we could, but that's the reality of the market. And let's not forget it's a new IP. Even though we all say Guardians are known, it's still a new IP in the video game market. It could be a lot of people don't even know this game is out, or they're not yet sure exactly what it is. I will say this as a side note, part of that is on the marketing standpoint. When they marketed this game and they showed it off, they did not show the qualities of this game at all. And I think we can talk about that, but that's part of the reason why people didn't know what the game was about or what it was like. But thanks to word of mouth and its arrival on Xbox Game Pass, Douglas now feels the game is doing well. It's like anything. We always want to sell trillions, but it's not always necessarily as easy as that, he laughed. This is something senior narrative director Mary DeMarle echoed. For me, it's all about creating the game, she said. What I love right now is that people, especially with Game Pass, are playing it and they're sharing the experience. We make games to touch people. We make games to hit an audience. And it's great that it's finding an audience, and it's great that it keeps going forward. But could forward still mean a sequel? And this team was keen not to rule anything out. Right now, we're not talking about the future, Douglas said, because every time we close a project, that's time to pull down, wrap up, take some vacations. So I guess we'll know the future months or years what we're going to work on next. So we'll see. Never say never and never say anything, he joked. When asked where he would personally like to see the characters go next, Douglas said he has ideas, but that these ideas are going to remain a mystery. Meanwhile, DeMarle was equally coy. I don't like to give anything away for the future, she dodged. Quote unquote, I will say that working on the game, the characters become very dear to me and the writing team, and we were sad to say goodbye when they were finished. But now we're seeing what happens out there in the world. So just wanted to give a little bit extra there along with kind of where the future of this franchise might go if they were going to say anything about that. So Guardians of the Galaxy, we'll start with that game specifically. And I don't know how many of you played. Mav, I know you played. I don't know if Psycho Jasper, I believe you played as well. Yeah, you did.
I beat it.
TJ, you beat it too as well?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Lupa,
I
did you
beat
play it? You beat it? Okay.
I bought it and beat it on.
That's
launch.
right. I remember you
raved
talking about it.
it.
That's right. I remember you
bought
talking.
it
I know
last October.
when you said that. Okay. All right. Perfect. Caitlin, did you touch it at all yet?
Hi.
Okay.
Oh my God.
All right. I'll take that as a no.
I think
Okay.
she's occupied.
Yeah, you're occupied, Caitlin. No problem. Okay. All right. So
I think that was a
I haven't,
enthusiastic yes.
okay. All right. So Guardians of the Galaxy, again, when it started
Oh
out,
my God.
it did not. Again, it got great reviews from critics. Critics really started talking about this game, but again, the way they showed it off, I think, was one of the big problems. So let me ask you this, TJ, since you bought it originally and beat it as well, what drew you? Was it just the Guardians of the Galaxy? Was it the name? Are you a big fan of, Guardians obviously as Marvel IP, or did you see something in the marketing that you really liked that drew you in, or did you just want to play a new game and you bought it and you loved it and you wound up beating it? How did that work for you?
Well, two things. One, when I heard about it, I'm like, well, there's really no marketing they've been doing for it. So
yeah,
I was like, oh God, is this going to be another Avengers game where it's going to be really not that good in the beginning and then they're going to patch it and fix it? And I'm like, it shouldn't, because it's single player. I'm like, there's no reason why it can't be good. And then I saw some video clips on YouTube of it, and I decided to buy and play it. And the graphics were amazing. I liked it on my Series X. The gameplay is really good. The campaign, the story, and the music. The music is really, really, really well done. And
Absolutely.
the banter between the characters, really good.
Yeah,
I love the game.
That
The
drew a
game
lot
was
of people
awesome.
in. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the 80s music. Oh yeah. It was really cool. I wish more games were like that. Whether or not if it's 80s, 90s, 70s, or today, it doesn't matter. That would actually keep most games more alive, actually.
Yeah,
in my
it would.
opinion.
It
But
would.
yeah, it's a great game, and it's
Yay!
totally worth
Really?
getting if you don't have it on Game Pass. If you don't have Game Pass,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth getting.
It's worth getting either way. Yeah, I agree. So specifically about these quotes here, them talking about how Game Pass is given a second life. We've spoken about this so much on this show, and you're always in the chat listening to different shows too. So I know you've heard it as well. The Game Pass effect that we've seen for a lot of different games that have come through Game Pass. This one right here was unique in a lot of different ways because it was single player. It wasn't the multiplayer that we always talk about, right? It was a single player game that did get great reviews that you would have thought would have caught fire and kind of had everybody playing it. We saw a lot of people in the community talking about it. Like Lupa said, she was out here praising it all nonstop too. But we didn't see, obviously, from the sales standpoint, again, we got to take Square Enix with a grain of salt because we don't understand what their expectations are all the time. But it seems like it didn't sell as well as maybe as much as we were seeing it talked about. But the Game Pass, all of a sudden it drops in the Game Pass. Everybody's sharing more clips. I shared some pictures myself. And everybody's, obviously the devs themselves are seeing this uplift. They, the one dev said, especially on Game Pass, she made a point of pointing it out that they're definitely seeing this uptick with this game. So for you, what does this say about Game Pass? Is this another just, feather in the cap of Xbox when they go and talk to other third parties about bringing their games in? Like, hey, look at what it did for Guardians of the Galaxy. Listen to what the devs are saying. Is this another one of those situations? Or is it just that everybody was waiting for it to drop into Game Pass? And like we've seen, and so there was some sales lost there because people were hoping it was going to show up in the Game Pass, and then it did. And now everybody else is jumping on board. What do you think?
Well, the thing is, the developers are finally, they're enjoying it because they're seeing a lot of uptick in Game Pass subscribers playing their game, which is great. But like I said, the problem is maybe Square Enix will learn their damn lesson and understand that you can't sit there and not pump out a game and not market it at all and say, okay, sell. That's really bad.
Reason.
You don't
That's
do
not
that.
The
you
reason.
advertise it, you push it in Facebook, you push it everywhere. I mean, everywhere. If you need to put on Pizza Hut, it doesn't matter. I mean, look at Batman. It's on Little Caesars, for God's sake.
Yeah,
so
but that's not the reason it failed, TJ, to make the numbers
I know,
wanted to
because
make.
their
The reason
expectations
is
are
because
really, really, really high. Yeah.
Of the other Marvel's game that was such a flop that nobody enjoyed. So when this Marvel game popped up a little while later, everybody was like, ain't touching that. No. That's what it was.
Yeah, but Eidos Montreal was actually the head of the creator development team that actually took the role of making Guardians of the Galaxy and made it single player. Because if Square Enix had more control of it and they gave it to Crystal Dynamics, they would have just pushed them around and said, make it multiplayer. But luckily it wasn't. So it's actually a good game, and it's obviously working now.
It's a small reason, the advertising, but the big reason was Marvel's Avengers put everybody. I didn't pay or buy Marvel's Avengers because of what I was told.
And it's such a shame.
The person that I play with a lot, he had an early access code. He played it and said to me, whatever you do, get it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have touched it. But I got it because I was told to, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Awesome game. Love the combat style. The fact that you can bring everybody in to fight with you. It's amazing. It was so unique and it was different, and the fun and the laughter. And I mean, it was just hilarious.
So what would you rate it, Lupa?
I never give a game a 10. I always think there's room for improvement.
I'm with you.
So I would probably give it 8.5-ish, 9. Like, it could get better.
Yeah,
but
it was a good game.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah, from Square Enix, which is really surprising because, to them, most of their games are, well, I wouldn't say trash, but to them, they think that they're not good enough. Oh, you didn't make enough sales. Oh, it wasn't that good. Not enough, excitement. It's like, well, you need to market your game more better, and also don't push microtransactions into everything, and don't make everything a looter shooter online. You don't
As
have
far
to.
as
Obviously, this
microtransactions
proves
go,
it.
TJ, that's a choice you make. You
Yeah.
either access them or you don't. That's a choice that an
I
individual
know.
gamer makes. So that's irrelevant. If it's got microtransactions in the game, I don't care as
think-
long as they're cosmetic and they don't affect the game and like pay to win.
Yes, correct.
I think their
Yes.
biggest problem they had was their E3 showcase. They showed 20 minutes of it and it did nothing for anyone and people just
Right.
wrote it
Yes.
off immediately. So when it
Yeah.
came out,
Exactly.
no one cared about it. I think that's where they went wrong.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, they didn't showcase the
You're
game
also
properly.
right on
but-
that.
That showcase put it in such a bad light. Like we all sat there and was like, the hell are we watching?
Jack, we fell asleep, and then like 15 minutes later, oh, this game is still on. What the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
found out that it looked like a co-op game, but it didn't have co-op, right? So that was
Yeah.
another thing because this is a game you really have to play and experience the story with to enjoy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't show very well. So like the fact that they chose to show such a super long gameplay segment without any connotation for really what the game is actually about. Yeah, they kind of told us, but you kind of gotta see it. I feel like it like to TJ's point, yeah, the marketing was like not as much as it should be, but I think it was more of like they
It
didn't
was not
market
as
it.
good.
They didn't market it properly in the
Not like
aspect of
Final Fantasy where they push it to the moon.
yeah. Well, not necessarily even with the dollars that they spend or how many places they put it out. What I'm saying is they didn't showcase the right aspects of the game too much, and you know,
Yes.
I think that like if they had showcased it better and really explained in a like a better way without that long gameplay segments, it would have done more for the game. And I do think Avengers had an impact on this big time because we're seeing okay, they have Crystal Dynamics, we have Eidos Montreal. The combat and the gameplay segments that they showed looked very similar to Avengers as well, right? So we're thinking, okay, this is
Yeah.
going to be another Avengers type game, but there's not even any co-op in this one. So like, it kind of just didn't showcase right. Now that being said, like I think the game had a lack of hype when it launched, and I think that even kind of reflected in the critic reviews, where the critic reviews weren't even as high as they should be, because I think it wasn't really until it got to the community, and the community started playing like day one, and its word of mouth started spreading. You know, it's like, wow, this is really damn good. And then a lot of people put it as their game of the year, you know? And I think it's sat in like high 70s or low 80s on Meta or something like that. But, you know, for a lot of people, I respect their opinion, you know, putting it up there is like, you know, one of the best game for them that came out in last year. And I still have like 2 chapters left because it's just the way I play games, right? But what I've played so far is one of the best stories I've ever played in a game. Like one of the best like
it's
stories like that progresses all the way through and grows, and the game actually gets better and better and better. Not necessarily from a gameplay perspective. Like gameplay is pretty consistent throughout. I think that's Jasper's biggest
Story.
complaint with it. It kinda
yeah, I
gets tedious
don't. The
with that.
gameplay is just kind of
But
repetitive and the same.
But for me, like the story that they're able to tell for an MCU thing, like a Marvel thing, you know, it was like equal to me as watching one of the movies where it has the same impact because I really actually care about the story that they're telling. And it's really hard for a game to do that to me. And it's very special games that have that impact, and they're able to achieve that. And the actors did a great job, which is another thing that was way better than the Avengers. You know, the actors did a great job. The character models they chose are better. The way and the banter between the characters throughout the entire time you're playing is just everything in that game. It's such an amazing job. And screw Square Enix for like dogging them in public about the sales of the game, because that only diminishes the potential that these games can have, because you're sitting there trashing on your own stuff, and it's kind of like the devs are like sitting out there trying to have to speak for themselves with this, and now you get the comments with them talking about, hey, it's great that Game Pass is finding that audience for us, right? And you know, they're the ones having to speak all positively about that game, when it should be the publisher, you know, really putting that forefront, being like, hey, yeah, that, you know, we're really proud of what the, you know, the success and how the community's responded to this, to the level of quality in this game, and leave it at that. You don't have to say like it didn't meet your sales expectations. You know what I mean? Like, just I don't know, man.
Square Enix needs to take a look in the mirror, right? Because from everything, anybody who's played this game, right, Guardians of the Galaxy, if they went back even if you never saw like the easy E3 presentation, if you never saw all the other presentations where they showed the video, the gameplay, right? Even if you did not see that, but you went back and watched it again, you'd be like, yeah, I wouldn't have been excited for this game either, right? That's on Square Enix. Square Enix has a problem with how they advertise their Western developed games, right?
Yeah.
They don't seem to understand the audience they're going for. Think about this. We just talked about this. Like the devs now have to rely on things like Game Pass to make sure that their audience grows. Whereas it should be Square Enix's job up front, as we know, one of the main parts, especially in this day and age, the golden age of gaming with all these games out there, is to make your game stand out. And when you throw something out there, just assuming because it's got Marvel attached to it, because it's got Guardians of the Galaxy attached to it, that people are just instantly going to be drawn to it. Look, everybody's time is limited. That's not how it works. You have to draw people in. Think about this. If they had gone back and use the opening scene, right? Not when he's a kid, right? Not when he's a kid, but had they gone back and an E3 presentation and had shown the opening scene when they finally get him to present time where he's on the ship and it opens up with turn up the radio from Autograph and he's looking in the mirror, and they had shown that interaction that happens on the ship and the banter back and forth as he's going to each crew member, that would have been a much better showing, because instantaneously the music would have drawn people in. Number one, for all of us 80s music fans, we'd have been like, hell yeah, this is awesome. Now this is Guardians of the Galaxy. And then the writing would have shown itself, and people probably would have been chuckling along with that showing, going, wow, this writing is pretty dang good for a video game. This is like movie quality, which is what everybody has said. Some people even claim it's better than some of the movie writing in some instances. So that's all on Square Enix. There's so many different ways they could have shown this off. Like, Mav, you brought up so many great points there in that rant about how it appeared to be a different type of game than it actually was. And that had a big effect on people's mental, right? Even if we find out later on, that sticks with people. First impressions can never be changed. It's the most important thing in the world. And Guardians was pretty blah when you go back and look at it. Lupa, I want you to talk a little bit more about where you were going, though, with the devs coming out and saying about Game Pass. Maybe there was some of that shyness because of Avengers, which was also another Square Enix, in a lot of ways, fault. They forced Crystal Dynamics to do a game style that they're not used to doing because they wanted those microtransactions, right? And then the way that they showed Avengers off originally did not grab people either. A lot of people, I remember saying the combat looks boring, right? And those first impressions were out there. And then you throw in the crazy, right, microtransactions and not really showing off what the game was all about. That's another Square Enix problem. But
it was
go
also
back
like
to
generic Iron Man.
Yeah,
too,
generic, correct. But they did that with Guardians of the Galaxy, and they still pulled it off, right? Because of the writing, right? Because even though the voices aren't by the original actors, they still pulled it off. But with the Avengers, they could not pull it off because the writing was nowhere. And that's Crystal Dynamics, right? That I'm not going to put that on Square. That's Crystal Dynamics writing team. They did not bring that movie flair into the Avengers well. But go back to that a little bit, Lupa, about what you and TJ were talking about there. How do you think that Game Pass helps overcome that? Because again, just because it's in Game Pass doesn't mean people download it. But obviously, there had to be something that grabbed people. And obviously, part of that would be the community talking about the people that did go buy it, overcame all the stumbles that Square Enix had by throwing it into Game Pass, right?
Well, yes. I mean, when a game goes into Game Pass, it's usually small studios that are taking the money after they've released the game and they've made what money they think they can make on that. When the game drops off a bit, then they take the money for it to go into Game Pass. I like that idea because it then gives that company the chance to start a new game, another game. But I think that like people are always like, I praise Game Pass. I think it's awesome. There's games in there, a lot of games in there that I've played. But I do think that Square, I don't know, they've always messed up a bit, and they need to sort it out now. They're going to see the difference now, and like hopefully they'll sort out all their microtransactions and things. I mean, they used to make some good games that I enjoyed, but they seem now to be getting like cash grabbing as much as they can, and that's annoying. But I do think that Game Pass should do what they're doing is they're people like not everybody can afford to buy every game. That's an impossibility. So by these games going into Game Pass, even though they're a way down the line and you're not getting them when they're new, you don't need to always get them when they're new. And I think that opens up so much opportunity for kids and casual gamers to be able to play games that they never would have been able to afford, or they didn't think they'd like. That I mean, I've bought so many games since Game Pass because I've played a game and thought, I love that, I'm going to keep it. Yep. And so I've bought it. So I think that it's a good thing in that sense. I just think that you know, Square Enix, they tend to like all that bullshit about, you know, Game Pass has made it. I don't think so. If they'd have marketed it right, if it hadn't been released so close to Marvel Avengers, I think it would have done well under its own steam. And I think they need to stop spouting the shit they're spouting.
I agree. Psycho, brother, listen. So you and I are on the same page here, especially with 80s music. How cool would it have been to have that be like the focus along with the writing, right? But as far as the devs go, like it's crazy to think about. What if there was no Game Pass? What if this was the old days, right? And there was no Game Pass? What would we be saying about Eidos Montreal right now? Like the devs, you can hear going through that article, through that interview, you can hear that they're ecstatic that Game Pass is actually a thing and their game went in there and now it's got this second life and people are playing it, people are talking about it again. Like they're excited. But back in the old days without Game Pass, right? This would have been another one of those games that wound up on the heap, right? The clearance heap, because it didn't sell well. We'd be talking about, is Eidos Montreal going to be closed down by Square Enix, or is it going to be sold off, which may still happen at the end of the day because Square is obviously not happy with their Western devs. But without Game Pass, this is one of those games that would have been kind of lost to the history of video games. What do you think, brother? Do you think that this, you know, is this just another huge W for Game Pass overall? Like, hey, game, bring it here. It's got a chance, right?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, and we even saw an uptick with Avengers when that came into Game Pass. So anything, when you have access to a larger audience like Game Pass with a game that should be played like Guardians of the Galaxies, and it just brings, like they said, they're seeing it. It's getting a second life in this service, and it's doing phenomenal. And if Sony had something along the lines that would bring something like that over, that also would be great for them, because you know, Sony, Square and Sony are, you know, buddy, so that would be something they would be like, oh yeah, that'd be great, you know, we'll bring more games over to services like Game Pass and Spartacus. But right now it's really great that they're seeing it. It sucks that they're the ones coming out and saying this, and Square's just keeping silent, and they're just being, you know, the grumpy old Eastern publishers that they are. They're just like, oh, Western audiences, because if you when Square says we got a new Final Fantasy game, everybody goes nuts. Right. That's the marketing they have. They don't have to do any more marketing than that. And they, for some reason, they think, well, with the West, it's not the same. So we'll get these, you know, Marvel, and we'll get, you know, Avengers, and we'll get Guardians, and it will be, you know, we don't have to do much. And that's not the case when you want to show off. When you show it off at E3, the way they did was not in a best light. How you set it up, that got me. If they brought that out for an E3 trailer, that would have gotten so more positive reaction out of the game. And then if you wanted to come at a later point to show the gameplay, then, you know, then people like, you know, not 20 fucking minutes. They could have done like a 5-minute gameplay trailer, and people would be like, okay, this is fun. Just tease us enough to be like, ooh, I want to play this, but don't give us too much. We're like they did at E3.
Right, exactly. I agree wholeheartedly. Obviously, I mean, again, it's just it seems like common sense to us, and it doesn't make any sense why Square Enix has such issues doing this stuff, but they really do. Now, like you said, maybe it's because they're so used to the Final Fantasies and those types of games that just are automatic. Like they don't have to do diddly squat. They could show anything, right? They could show the UI and people would be excited about it, right? That's just how it works.
Whoever's doing their numbers for their Western developed games, like their future projections, they need to like either stop fudging the numbers or tone
it down a notch, fellas. It's a single player game that was like newer. I mean, I think they said even in that article, right? It's a new IP kind of for gaming, even though it's not a new IP technically, like for gaming and a single player thing. Square Enix, it's a whole new category that we haven't really seen before, you know what I mean? So like they can't just like expect it to sell like 20 million, right off the bat, like I don't know what their projections were, but like they do this repeatedly.
Stupid.
Tomb Raider, Avengers,
Outriders.
Outriders, now this game. I mean, like, just if you don't gonna set reasonable expectations even for your devs and then make them feel like failures after the fact, just sell them off, let Microsoft or like somebody else like that knows more what to do and cultivate that talent do it, and we'll see what's going on with that Unreal Engine 5 and Tomb Raider, with Crystal Dynamics. I don't know. I think we talked about it last night. There's more to that, possibly. But I just
Series X exclusive.
I hate seeing that negativity from a publisher. Like, and maybe they don't even intend for it to sound negative, but it's multiple times in a row, and it's from their Western devs, and those games, some of them sell way more than some of the stuff that they publish, and that's Eastern focus, right? And it's like, well, why are your projections so much lower for those? And then you're praising them for doing much better. Like they'll praise something for selling like 200,000 copies, right? If it's like a small little project, but then, this sells millions, and it's like, oh, we maybe it's because of budget for it or what. I don't know what they're thinking it is, but it doesn't seem like they know how to operate Western focused games really with their marketing and budgets and everything. If they can't, if they keep after every single release releasing a statement like this. So
I think they may have added an extra 0 to like the population of the states. Like,
maybe
maybe just
yeah.
Well, we've had that conversation too, Mav, right? That it's my firm belief that they use Crystal Dynamics and Eidos to funnel money to finance their Eastern developers, right?
Yeah.
I think that was their robbing Peter to pay Paul. So they're always going to come out and say the numbers look bad because they want to keep financing the next Final Fantasy or whatever the case may be with that money. And it's never good enough for them, that they expect their Western developers to do some kind of magic, and come up with bigger numbers. Because again, my biggest pet peeve in all the things that Square Enix has ever said is the Tomb Raider stuff. When they came out that said that every one of the Tomb Raider games underperformed, I was thinking, you guys gotta be kidding me, right?
Oh, wow.
Really?
Wow.
Look at the Xbox version.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? It gets to that level. Jasper, for you, listening to the devs talk about this and talk about Game Pass, specifically for Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, you played through it. I mean, you bought it right out the gates, right? Yeah, you bought it right out the gates. So, and you beat it. And so when you're playing through the game, like, to hear the devs basically need a lifeline at this point, right? A lifeline from Game Pass. Like it made their bosses happy over at Square Enix. But to have such a quality game that you bought day one, you beat, so you knew what everybody was talking about. You were one of those saying, hey, this is a really good game. I remember being in a chat with you while you were playing.
It was okay. It wasn't the best thing.
Well, not the greatest game ever of all time. But again, for a movie's IP turning into a video game, which is always questionable. It's gotten better as the years have gone by, but it's questionable what you can do with a game like that. You still enjoyed it, obviously enough to beat it. So to hear the devs just being so happy to get this lifeline from Game Pass, what does that say to you? Like, if you were one of those devs, would you just be like, put all my games on Game Pass, damn it?
I think that just shows the fact that the devs understand the power of Game Pass more than some of their publishers that they like sign with.
Right.
Yep.
They're finally
That's-
waking up.
That's a lot of people are seeing that, how great Game Pass is doing for their games when they originally release them. And it's crazy how they're getting a second life. And it's just like, people are like, oh my God, this game is fucking phenomenal.
And
And
maybe
it's just-
like with these Square Enix devs, like maybe they'll start like doing what IO did and try to break away from their publisher and like find someone else or go independent. Like if they can see like the actual like power of Game Pass, like we can put our next game on Game Pass. We don't have to sign with Square Enix, and we can go independent and make our own stuff. Like maybe that's the next step for
I
them.
got an answer for you, Jasper. Square Enix is going to get rid of Crystal Dynamics, and they're going to go straight to Xbox. That's a bigger budget. You get more time, and your game goes into Game Pass, so you get more eyes on your merchandise right away. Versus sitting there having your bosses tell you, "Oh, you did a good job, but it wasn't good enough. Sorry."
Yeah. Go ahead, Psycho. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say hi, John TJ, because he said hi.
Hey, what's
in
up,
chat.
dude?
I said hi in chat.
Yeah, to me
That's
too.
awesome. No, I just think overall that Game Pass is doing what it's supposed to do. And I think that Mav, as much as you and I have talked about this nonstop, we've all talked about this on so many different shows and so many different places about Game Pass. It's always interesting when these examples keep happening. Eventually, there's got to become a time and point, like we've talked about, where it can't be ignored anymore, that the power is there to change the fortunes of devs and publishers if they go ahead and take the leap into Game Pass with their games. And I think that the more this builds up, the more that you see this. Now, this is twice that we've seen Square Enix with Outriders and now with Guardians of the Galaxy use Game Pass to their advantage. Now, with Outriders, it didn't work out the same way. Obviously, we know. Huh?
I
Go
said,
ahead.
according to Square Enix, it didn't work out.
According to Square Enix, we know
Yeah.
that there was a huge
Yeah,
lift
just
for a
them,
while, right? There was a huge lift for a while, but because the devs did not fix what needed to be fixed in
Could you imagine
enough time.
could you imagine that game with how many people were excited for it if it functioned
Bro.
properly and had
Bro,
the
the core of that
didn't
game
have
is
those
so
issues?
good.
It
Yes.
could have been way bigger than it ever had any right to be to begin with because of Game Pass, but because the devs
Maybe
budged
that's
it
also
up.
a negative, a Game Pass. Like maybe they weren't expecting like billions of people or whatever.
Well,
to play it,
I
so,
mean,
their
like-
servers couldn't handle it. Maybe that's a negative.
That's what some people said, and that's what some people blamed it on. But it turned out that it was actually other issues that they've released in their like coding that they just like screwed up. So there was actually released some information about how the level systems and all this kind of stuff were jacked. But they were transparent about it, which is good. But it did blame a lot of people did blame Game Pass for that. But regardless, like if you're releasing something, right, and you are a game that's trying to be like a online service type, games of service type situation, right? They said it's not, but Outriders was, it's a games of service game.
Absolutely.
No microtransactions in it. I don't think were there.
I think I think
Oh.
so. Is there
I
not?
don't think there was.
If there's not, anyway, it's a multiplayer focused game that's like co-op all the way through, and they had planned to bring out content after the fact. They had said, but the whole point is like if you're releasing something, you should have expectations that you want it to explode and be great, right? Like you shouldn't have, especially from a published game from a major publisher, have this expectation that it's gonna only do so well, and I hate that. I absolutely hate it. And if it was only the server issues, you'd see it like in the past situations with like other Battlefield type games where like, oh, our servers are are beyond capacity. We're adding more, and then within a few days, they meet the demand. But this was like far greater than just
This was the worst
people.
Battlefield ever.
Well, on Outriders, this was far more than just like capacity issues, right? Like they just.
It was also like their first big multiplayer game.
It was, right. So I think the amount of people that played it and the hype had a negative effect because it wasn't working, and it was not only working right away, but it extended for weeks, right? It wasn't like it was like, okay, 2 days of like 3 days of a
They
rough
also
start.
had a major bug where you could lose all your loot.
Yeah, I mean there was like ongoing things for like weeks, and
Lord Cognito lost everything.
if you
And
have
then they went and nerfed things instead of fixing real issues.
So
right?
I mean, gameplay wise, the game has so much potential. Yeah. People were loving it. But when you have these failures with the systems for your online, you can say, well, it's Game Pass's fault for introducing so many players to your broken game. Like that's not. If the game had functioned properly, we could all be like talking about Outriders as one of the biggest new franchises in gaming, right?
Right.
But they screwed it up, and it's not on Game Pass, it's not on Xbox. That's on the devs for not having their game function properly. And I still had hope that they could turn it around and bring it back, but you can't as a new IP.
Destiny.
Yeah, as a new IP.
I just can't believe that people blame Game Pass. Game Pass is not the reason why a game will succeed because of Game Pass, but a game will not fail because of their servers, because of Game Pass. That is the developer, and that is them not doing their damn job. So Square Enix, you know what? You should have given them more money, and you should have given them more time and done it properly. If you wanted to make a looter shooter online, if you want Avengers to work,
there's no facts speaking to Square. There's no facts speaking.
But I don't even know if this was like.
I know.
I think this is more of a people can fly, being this their first foray into making this kind of game, and they just made some critical errors on the back end that they didn't anticipate.
It doesn't help when you have a bad boss too, right?
That's true.
That's really stubborn.
Yeah. When you have a bad boss, they made a bad deal to be partnering with Square Enix, and it came back to bite them in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah,
Square did not give him any support.
Yeah, I remember even after the fact, they were wondering where their money was. What I mean?
Cool.
They were like, hey, we made this game and like millions of players are playing it.
And then Square Enix said it was like, yeah, it's because you got all Game Pass users. It's like no one bought the game or whatever.
It's like, which is bullshit because they make the deal for like.
Yes.
Square has.
It's still money.
Man, this has become a podcast about Square Enix just being pretty shitty. You know what I mean?
They are.
Yeah, they've done a lot of shitty things.
Change the thumbnail. Change the thumbnail, Kate.
Turd emoji on top of Square Enix logo.
Yeah.
We need to just buy Square Enix and just get it over with and get rid of the heads of Square Enix and just do us all a favor.
No.
Square's had its issues for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lupa.
Can I interject, Paul?
Yeah, go ahead, Lupa.
Come on, Lupa. Let's go.
Go, Lupa.
You're talking about the BAFTAs. I have to mention my game of the year, my game of the century. It Takes Two wins 2 BAFTAs.
I saw that.
Multiplayer and original property, and I love it. And anybody who hasn't played it, they seriously need to get on there and play it. Find a friend.
I've never played it, Lupa.
It's awesome. I'm getting up Paul's nose, and I love it.
No, I did actually see that. It's great. I just love to see small studios like that dominate. It is really good to see that game winning, even if it's not something I'm interested in. I'm still happy for everybody associated with that game because I know how much of this family right here has played it and absolutely loved it. Right. So I give it all the credit in the world. It's awesome to see that. For sure.
And also another thing, it going into Game Pass has given it a second boost.
Yep.
And me and Fastback will be playing it the weekend, and Mike Mullis and Peter are playing it also. So
awesome.
I mean, it's just a game that you. It's in Game Pass, darling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the EA.
You can jump in and play it anytime, and it's just so much fun.
And that's that one right there. It's funny you bring that up though, Lupa. That's a perfect example of how to market a game. Number one.
Sure.
Number two, that option that they gave for you to buy it and then give a free to play pass for your friend or whoever was going. That was the most, I mean, that was just a phenomenal thing to do for that game. And it really pay dividends at the end of the day. That's the way you do it.
Oh yeah.
And the only
No.
thing that people were moaning about is, oh, you don't get the achievements if you use the friend pass. I was like, oh, big deal, you know.
Yeah,
Then buy
again,
it.
if you're
Enjoy
achievement
the
hunter, I'm
game.
sorry for you. It's about playing the game.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
what it's about.
If
Enjoy
you
Go ahead,
enjoy
Psycho, what were
the
you gonna
game,
say?
who cares about achievements? That's what
Right.
I
There was-
say. It's,
Yeah, I don't know anyone on this panel that cares about achievements.
no.
That was
Jasper.
very, very.
Oh,
I don't
maybe
care.
you though, Jasper, huh?
That was that
Mr.
was very smart
335,000.
that they
Yeah, exactly.
gave a free
Yeah.
key to friends, because this way you would always have somebody being to play with instead of
Yeah.
like no one
Yeah.
buying it. So that was very smart on their part, because then if you
Very
wanted
clever.
the achievements and if you wanted to, because you can't play it without somebody that has it. So if you wanted to play it with somebody, you had to buy it. So it was very smart. It was good marketing, and it should have gotten a lot more credit than it did.
Yeah,
I-
for sure.
I
I mean,
know-
it won
I
Game
know-
of the Year at the Game Awards, but like,
Yeah.
you know, I think more people would have jumped in if they understood what it was, because the people that have played it, I've not heard a bad word. There's so many different levels. Every level is different, and
About
it's just-
cooperation.
yeah, all
You
about
got to fix your relationship.
fix your relationship and then
I
kill
have
the
a-
fucking book.
Game.
Go ahead.
Honestly good.
Go ahead.
It's
Yeah.
a great game. A great game. I
Yes.
just hope that their next
It's
foray
obviously
in
really
is
good.
going to be better, as good, if not better. I just loved it. It's awesome.
All right. Well, going from Lupa's advertisement for It Takes Two, which it doesn't need anymore.
I only did it to wind you up.
We're-
I'm not having you sitting
Sponsored by
comfortable in that
AssassinLupa.
seat.
I'm fine, Lupa. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. Look, so we're going to jump into a game that probably needs some goodwill, and we're going to do this quickly because not everybody here is interested on this panel, and not everybody's played it on this panel. But what I am going to jump into this one, and this is something that Mav and I are going to talk about, and maybe some others who have tried it. But Godfall, the Ultimate Edition, launched on Xbox this week. It is not in Game Pass. However, for the next 13 days now, it is on sale for $30 instead of the normal $40. Again, if you remember, this was a full price game over on PS5 for $70. It got the nickname God Awful, which I absolutely love. I think it's one of the most hilarious nicknames that have ever come out of video games, for different reasons. But they've done a lot of work on this game. Now, I never played the game originally. My brother from another, Steel Rain, however, did play it on PC originally. And he was even saying before they fixed everything that he did enjoy the game. It's a hack and slash looter. It did not live up to the hype. There was a lot of mistakes made in the marketing of that game, saying that it could only be on the PS5 because the power of the SSD. That's why it got a lot of hate as well. That was their fault, Gearbox's fault. Randy Pitchford came out with that, of course, as he always is wont to do. He says things out of that big mouth before he should. But at the end of the day, Godfall has landed, the Ultimate Edition. So for $30 right now, you get everything, including all DLC. They have completely upgraded the end game to this. I bought it. I jumped in. I got Mav to jump in. Jasper, did you jump into it too?
I'm still waiting on it.
Okay.
If I finish Lego Star Wars in time,
Got
I
me
might
to
check
buy
it out.
it.
Yep. TJ jumped into it last night because he heard us talking about it for sure. Lupa, I know you're not touching it at all. Obviously, Psycho, you are already on Tiny Tina's Wonderland, so I don't know if you're going to pick this up either.
I'm too
No,
busy playing with Tiny Tina.
Okay.
Tiny Tina's much more fun.
It is. It's incredible. I already rolled credits. So yes, absolutely 100%. I did my advertising for Tiny Tina's over the past couple of weeks for sure. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Love that game. Go buy it if you haven't already. If you love Borderlands, go get Tiny Tina's. It's amazing. It's an absolute wonderful time. But jumped into Godfall. Look,
I'm not
Keep-
gonna play it either.
Caitlin.
Putting
So
it out
yeah, I'm
there.
glad you're
Oh,
back.
you're here.
I
Yeah,
did.
you with
I
us,
thought maybe you had
Caitlin.
screaming. I thought you had screaming going on, so I didn't want to bring
No,
you
but I
back in.
did just take 4 ibuprofen. so-
Okay, well that
thought
makes
I
sense.
fell asleep.
How could you sleep with that yelling in the background? Heck no. Look, so Godfall, Mav, Jasper, you're waiting on it yet. So look, we're gonna do a little advertising here. Godfall, A lot of people have a lot of things against this game without ever touching it because of all the word of mouth that has been out there. They have not been kind to it for some good reasons and some bad reasons. A lot of it's that hate train that we've seen on so many games lately. Here's what I'm going to say. Got about probably 4 or 5 hours in at this point now. At this point, this game to me is worth the $30. This game, if you like looters, if you like hack and slash, and you're not looking for some fantastical story that's going to draw you in, but you just love the action, for me, this game is worth $30. Mav, go ahead, man. You take over. What do you think of Godfall so far?
Yeah, let me get to a couple of super chats real quick first.
We got super chats?
Yeah, I got earlier one from John TJ. Thank you so much, dude, for the $2 super chat. He told me that this is from Meta. Thanks, man. I'll make sure that Facebook gets our money for sure.
Yeah, they need it.
Yeah.
Let me know.
And Lord Ruffness with the $5 super chat. Thank you, sir.
Lord Ruffness.
He says, not having it, Lupa. Game of the decade. Not even close. Elden Ring.
And I answered in saying I meant last decade, not this decade.
Yeah.
I love
I
Elden Ring
agree.
too.
Elden Ring's definitely.
And Elden
here.
Ring is up there at the moment, but we shall see
Yeah.
with what's coming whether it stays up there for me.
Yeah. That's
And I see Bomber right away said you Godfall. Okay. All right. See, this is what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Let's go.
All right. So
Go ahead,
All
Dan.
right. I had zero expectations for Godfall. All I've done is hear bad things about it. God awful, and the ridiculousness that it had at launch, with a lot of like lacking of stuff. Like a lot of these types of games have, and it didn't even have co-op, and it was touted as like only possible on the PS5 and all of these things, and then it kind of went out and it flopped. I think it was it $70 or 60?
Yeah,
it was
it was
70
70.
bucks.
70
And
bucks.
so it had all these huge expectations, right, from a lot of people, and it came out and everybody's like, what the hell is this, and it got this huge negativity around it, this negative vibe, and a lot of people have played it right day one, right? So what we're playing now is not necessarily a fair comparison to that experience, right? Because what we're playing is like 2 years worth of added content to it, plus
Patches.
also a lot of patches and fixes, and co-op added, and there's even like a 6-player co-op mode that we can access later, and all this stuff. So I'm not saying that my opinion now would like detract from anybody's opinion that played it like right away. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I can't quantify that. I can't judge it. However, what I can say, like you, Pong, $30. I even put on like Twitter, like should I pull the trigger? And like 70% of people are like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't you dare. John
I
TJ
even said no at first.
Yeah, John TJ was even one of them, and then Pong got me by sending me this DM that he had it installing, and he was like a certain amount of percentage.
Pong and Mav
And
got me into it.
and me, like I'm always like wanting to play games with like my friends and stuff, and it's like I love co-op gaming, and so I'm like, fuck, I got it, I'm gonna do it. So I use Microsoft rewards, and I ended up pulling the trigger. I got it for like $15 after the rewards, right? So, but even for $30,
yep,
I have to say, like, I don't have any kind of crazy expectations for this thing about like supposed to be like one of the best games ever or anything like that. It's just for what the value is that we got it for. I'm having a blast, dude. Like, honestly, like we're going around hacking and slashing shit, getting loot, checking out these different areas. It kind of has, like we talked about it, like in a way, there's almost like a Phantasy Star vibe with the way the map system works. You kind of have like this hub, and you go into an area. And you also brought up Too Human, which was a great comparison. Because
it's like Too Human?
Because
yeah.
Because
okay, I'm gonna have to get that there.
It's like
because of the
Phantasy Star
aesthetics.
meets Elden Ring meets Human.
It's got
It's a
the
mash of
feeling
all
of
three.
it. Yeah,
Right.
it's got the feeling of it.
The
Yeah.
weapons have a weight to them. They like the combat you can feel the hits. It can be challenging as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
There's there's a simplicity to like the systems that are in place that me, like when we dive into these kind of games, I'm always picking your brain for questions, and you guys get on because I'm like, man, I don't understand all this shit. Like
the X button.
Yeah, I'm like, there's too much stuff.
Get good, Mav.
Everything on here is like pretty easy and simple to understand, and there's a decent amount to work for, I feel like, and
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what's going to happen with like an in-game stuff. Like I hear that there's like not much there, but I don't know. I feel like they may have added some since.
They've added stuff.
So,
yes, a lot.
from what I'm playing now, honestly, I'm having a good time. I'm not going to say it's like game of the year or anything like that, but if I was asked to like review my impressions from like the first 5 hours or so of my gameplay with this with you, I would say I would give it like an 8 or so.
Yeah.
Like from my,
Yeah.
I mean, it's working well. Like
Yep.
the combat, it
Co-op
feels
co-op
solid.
is working well.
The graphics are good. There's loot. There's decent loot. The combat has a lot of different intricacies to it with the different weapons that you use and the combos that you use, and also all the different armors that you can unlock. There changes things
everything.
as well. I don't know, man. Like I don't know 100% where a lot of the negativity comes from. I don't know for everybody that's played it, or maybe people that haven't played it at all have a negative opinion just because of what they've heard. But from my perspective right now, dude, I just gotta admit it and say I'm enjoying Godfall, and I'm looking forward to playing it more maybe tonight with you. I don't know what your plans are, but
You sons of bitches.
Do you
I'll
think
join.
it's because
You all
playing it
talking.
with
You
who
talking me
you
into
like to
getting
play
this
with,
now.
though? Man.
Yeah, Steel's joining in too.
Yeah, I think
so,
co-op
you know,
You
helps.
sons of bitches.
no,
I'll hang
it's
out with you, Psycho, on Tiny Tina. We get
Tiny
to
Tina's
do-
is great too.
yeah, they got a special thing going
I
for
know.
Tiny Tina's as well this weekend. So for a while, for next week or so.
Mhm.
So which I do want to hop into as well. But yeah, just to add to you, Mav, again, if you're looking for a looter, right, and you're not playing Tiny Tina's, right, and you're not looking again for a story, the story's there. There is
there
some
a
story
class
to it.
system to it? Like
Not standardized classes that you think of. You can build what you do is you unlock these different armor sets, which changes your abilities and changes your appearance, right? So customization wise, it's basically there's not a whole lot there outside the color of your armor. Okay,
so you
there's
don't
not
just
a
go
whole,
in and be like, I want to play a healer. Or
no,
want-
no. There's different armor sets that you have to unlock
It's
that
like
give you
Russian
different
roulette.
abilities. So that give you different abilities, and you got to kind of figure out which one. There's like 12 different armor sets. Okay, so
Is it
and they all have
8,
different
Pong?
abilities. Huh?
8 you can have in multiplayer, is it?
Up to
8?
up. Well, no, it's 3 until you get to the end game, and then they've included a 6-player end game as well now. So there's a whole new mode with up to 6 players now.
It's just
So
that Ryan in the chat was asking how many.
yeah, exactly. It's 3 to start out until you get to end game, and then they do have an end game
Yeah.
mode that's up to 6.
And I'll say
So-
that.
So does,
Yeah, go ahead, TJ.
go ahead, Mav.
No,
Go ahead,
I was
Matt.
gonna say a lot of people I said like, hey, you know, they're expecting this game to hit Game Pass at some point as well.
Yeah.
And I agree with that.
It will.
So I didn't necessarily see that as a reason for me to wait, because I still think $30 is like a good value for this. And even
That's
if
a
it
good
does
deal.
hit Game Pass, I don't foresee it something that's just gonna live and stay in Game Pass for forever. So
Right.
$30 was for everything, and it's way better than 70. Right. And you're getting
Right.
it like with all the fixes and everything. So I'm not trying to tell everybody that you're gonna love it, but I'm just gonna say like it's worth a try if you got like $30 extra. You want to like say okay, like a decently made game that's like has pretty good production value and is working well. The co-op is working well. We haven't had any hitches at all with it, and we have had 0 bugs really either. Like, have we had a bug?
I had
bug?
one. I had one when I put the shift code in, and it locked the shift code
Okay.
screen.
Yeah,
on
you
the-
had the shift
onto
code.
my screen. Yeah, and I couldn't get rid
Yeah.
of it. I had to actually I had to quit the game, quit out of the game in order to come back in. But yeah, no, everything's working really well. And again, like Mav said, there's weight to the combat. It's a deep combat system. There's combos. There's extra special abilities in the skill trees that you open up with your shields, with your weapons. There's I mean, again, it's deeper than you think from what you've heard from people. Like a lot of people, it's just hack and slash.
Yeah.
Sure, you can hack and slash, but you're going to get mobbed. And the difficulty is increasing as Mav and I go along here. And we've gotten into some situations because they throw different style enemies at you in groups. And so you're always constantly adjusting on the fly, and your weapons do dictate how the battle's going to go. Like I've already figured out I got to use my 2-handed pole arm versus my dual light swords in different situations. If I'm fighting
Different
heavy
enemies.
armor guys, it really does have a lot of depth to it. And that's what Steel always talked about. He's like, dude, don't just watch the videos and think that you're just button mashing your way through this. He's like, that's not going to work out in a lot of instances. He's like, you do have to use some thinking to it. And Mav and I have been backing away. You got to look out for it. You can't, there's parry to it. So the parry system is really well done. They've got unblockable attacks that you have to watch out for, that you got to be dodging away from. There's all of that is in this game. So I think this game is a lot deeper than what people thought it was up front. And again, I would recommend it highly at $30. I'd recommend it at $40.
I have two nitpicky things that I don't know if they may add at some point. And well, maybe three. Okay. So here's my three things. If they're still adding content to this game, which I think they are, target lock on. Your mic's on mute to Pong.
I said that too last night.
Yeah, target lock on. Have at least a little overlay map in the corner or something. Yes. You don't necessarily have to have a big one that we can pull up, but like at least
because the areas are bigger than you think they are.
They can. We got lost a couple times, man. Yeah, and we were like, wait, how do we get back? Because like the paths, even though like it's like supposed to be more of a linear experience, like these paths are like branching and they go in like sometimes 2 or 3 different directions. And then you go down one of those, and that branches off to 2 or 3 different directions. You go down one of those, and then that branches off. Then you end up trying to, find these like little puzzle things to open a chest.
All right. Steel is saying that there's a target lock in the start menu. So there is a way to do it. I didn't see it when I went in there, so I'm gonna have to go back in there and look.
Thanks, Steel.
Obviously, Steel knows. So,
so that'll activate that. So that fixes that. Never mind. And then
turn on the map.
The third thing is I would like pick upable armor pieces that are customizable instead of just changing the colors and having the preset. Now the presets look badass, right? And they have like coatings kind of for them, that you can unlock. But I would like, because the armor looks so badass, like with the aesthetic of it, I could imagine like some amazing shit. Like if you could like get different looks, but that's kind of like the same with several games. Several games go this method, and it, at the end of the day, it's fine. It doesn't detract anything. It's just something I would like to see.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I agree with you with those nitpicks too as well. But just overall, we're having a fun time. And I think that, again, Mav and I, we've all talked about this, right? We've all talked about this, that sometimes people lose sight of what video games are sometimes about. Now, it may not be for you, and I totally get that, but a lot of times video games come down to, are you having a great time? And with Godfall, I can honestly say I'm having a great freaking time with the game. Again, just having fun. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying, God, should I have really spent $30 on this game? No, I'm not at all. And I think that that's what it comes down to, is the value's there. And again, I'm a big looter fan. It always gets me. It's part of my addictive personality. I love looting things. I love finding new weapons and new upgrades and feeling like I'm actually upgrading my character. And that definitely is in this game. You can feel yourself getting more powerful as you go along. Mav was doing it tonight. Mav jumped into me after he had go do errands and stuff. And so he was behind me by like 4 levels when he jumped back in tonight. We were going up against it. Obviously it scaled to me because we were playing in my game, and Mav was getting his butt handed to him. But within 30 minutes, you had powered up 2 levels, and all of a sudden you were starting to do some damage and you were starting to get after those guys.
Yeah. I like that aspect.
Really good stuff.
I don't like games that like it nerfs you because you're in somebody that's higher level.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, don't punish me for that.
Elden Ring.
Yeah, I'm trying to like compete here, and I may be getting my ass kicked, but I'm struggling to do it. So give me more XP for that. You know what I mean? And it does that. It rewarded me. So now I've actually almost caught up to you with a level, because I think I hit like 14 or 15 or something.
You're right behind me. So, you're right behind me now. So no, like it works out great. Yeah, no, it was great. Really worked out well. So again, that was our short advertisement for Godfall, because we know a lot of people had questions about it. Again, I did a post too on Twitter about Godfall, just simply saying that, hey, I'm jumping in, $30 sold me, plus Steel Rain vouched for it. So I'm jumping into it. And I got a lot of traction. I had a lot of strangers out there jumping in saying, oh, you paid too much. But I also had a lot of people that were actually just honestly curious about the game as well, because there's been so much discourse around it, and it looks really good. When you see it, the graphics do pop off the screen. The color palette, the design choices that they made, awesome. They are freaking really good and well done. And let me tell you, it's crispy. I'm playing, which is nice for the console version with all these patches and stuff they've done. They worked on the performance modes. It comes for the Xbox. If you're playing on the series consoles, it comes with VRR. and Dolby Vision, and the Series X does have a 120 mode, and I'm playing on the 120 mode. Let me tell you, smooth as butter. Let me tell you, it's awesome. Absolutely having a good time with it. So we just wanted to bring everybody up to speed because I know a lot of people had questions about Godfall out there, whether or not to buy it. And for $30, definitely do it, even if you wait till the $40 mark. But like we just brought up, I do think it will live at some point in Game Pass for a time period, because this is one of those games that would have been perfect just to drop straight into Game Pass. Let me tell you, a lot of people would have been trying this thing out for sure.
Yeah, but
we'll
maybe
see.
because they didn't have all that content and everything, maybe it still would have had like an Outrider situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's possible. That is possible. That's
People-
always the side. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
People need to understand that, they sit there and they're like, oh, well, $30-$40 is too much. Well, you can use your Marks on reward points, or you can wait until it goes in the Game Pass, or you can look at it like this. You know what? Sony fans had to pay $70 up front. We're paying $30.
Right.
But you're complaining it's the Ultimate Edition. They could just give that for a Standard Edition.
Correct.
Luckily, it's only
It's the
$30
Ultimate.
for the Ultimate.
Yep.
That's like saying Forza. That's like giving the Ultimate Edition for $30 and sitting there saying, it's too much. It's too much. Really? Are you freaking blind? Come on. It's a good deal. It's not a bad deal, and it's not like amazing deal, but it's just right. It's just in the sweet spot. Like Pong said and Mav said. It's amazing.
Absolutely agree.
Got a question for you
Yeah,
from
shoot.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Curious if you think any live services can live outside of Game Pass these days.
Absolutely freaking. We've got example of live service games that can live outside of Game Pass, right?
Look
you got
at Apex.
you got Apex, you got Destiny,
Phantasy
you got
Star,
Yeah.
look,
Yep.
Elder
Fortnite.
Scrolls.
Yeah. I think that there's plenty. Now, do I think that Game Pass can certainly help one from getting lost in all this content? Absolutely. Of course, Game Pass can
Hell yeah.
give you that initial fan base or that initial group of people to play your new live service game. So I think there is something to be said for that. But I definitely think that live service games, if done right, can certainly live outside of any kind of subscription service. There's so many people playing video games nowadays. If you grab people's attention, you will get that credibility, and you don't need a subscription service to do that.
Sorry, he says now he
Yep.
puts in new games.
Yeah, new games. I still think that new games can absolutely freaking lootly. Yes.
Look at
Yeah,
Elden
me
Ring.
too.
Yeah.
It's
Look at
not a
Elden
service game really, but
No.
it's a game that nobody thought anybody would play because it's so niche, right? But now look, it overshadowed Sony's two biggest IPs, Gran Turismo and also Forbidden West.
Of course.
So what does that tell you?
You do a game
tells you
right
that they
Obviously
made it.
thrive
They
without
made
Game
it
Pass.
playable for
for a
normal
lot more
gamers.
people.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
it
think
was
the next big one
$60.
that has a chance is probably going to be Arc Raiders. Might be the
Arc
next big one
Riders.
that has a chance.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
Riders, Raiders.
What's
whatever.
that one?
Raiders.
Is it Raiders? I thought it was Riders.
Yeah.
It's Raiders.
Raiders.
You Mav always knock that they put in Splinter Cell and all them things in from Ubi. I've forgotten the name of it.
X Defiant.
X Defiant. That
Ah.
could be one.
Yeah.
No,
Mav
I mean
just
we
hates
don't
that
think
game.
so. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
it could be, right?
they're
'Cause
doing
it's
a lot of changes to that game right now. So
Yeah,
I have more
exactly.
hope for it than I did before, because I think they listened to all the feedback from the early testers and have made some changes to the branding. They've actually dropped the Clancy brand from it altogether.
Mm-hmm.
The logo
Yeah, he
and
got back
stuff
up from his grave and was like, "What are y'all doing?"
the logo and stuff is more serious toned as well. They got rid of a lot of stuff on their site that was advertising it, like with all the graffiti type stuff and everything. Like I think they're making some changes that, like, if they do it right, I think X Defiant has a chance.
Right.
But that wasn't the only things that were wrong with it. Like anybody that
Right.
played it and tested it out, there was some other issues as well, right? So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, Ubisoft is gonna have some kind of live service game success, because they're throwing like tons of shit
Yes.
at a dartboard right now, trying to hit a bullseye, and they got like all of their
One of 'em.
franchises, that are being looked at as their next big live service thing, and eventually they're going to hit the mark on it, and they'll learn from their mistakes. But right now it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, we got was it Heartland? We got
Heartland, yep.
X Defiant. You know, the Skull and Bones, Assassin's Creed Infinite. All of these games are going to be this some form of live service.
Like
model.
Ghost Recon Battle Royale thing or whatever.
Oh, Ghost Recon. Yeah, I forgot what the name. Frontlines, I think.
That they quickly took down and put back in the oven again and said, "Oh, just kidding. We're not going to have a beta."
Yeah,
just kidding.
Breakpoint was just Axe this week.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, they were. The Breakpoint is not going to any more updates, but the servers are still going to be live, so it's still going to be alive. So
still be a game. It's just not going to be have any support. They do that with Assassin's Creed. It was a year now with Valhalla. They're doing 2 years, although we've not seen the map that they've given us, the roadmap for the year 2 yet, because they took the DLC away and made it into a game
standalone.
The interesting thing, the interesting thing is
pay for another fucking game that should have been DLC.
Here comes the Lupa rant. Yes, yes. Well, it's not Xbox Ultimate without that.
Here's the thing with Ghost Recon too is like you know that they were started using Breakpoint for the NFT testing, right? Yeah. And then the rumors are between this new Ghost Recon free to play game is that's going to be their main test for NFTs going forward as well, and that's so it's going to be
a quick F for fail.
How did they kill Ghost Recon franchise in one swift move?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Who knows exactly? Yeah, what's up?
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask everybody, what's your guys' take on zombie games, like in terms of like State of Decay? You like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
So
some are good, some are bad.
Yeah. I read an article today that that one game that's on PC that's the publisher, it sounds like they're not that good, but I've seen gameplay of it. It looks good, but I don't know.
You're talking about that game that looks too good to be true? That's out there.
Yeah, the day after, the day before, it's coming to Xbox. It actually got announced for June 20th. This year.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see how that is. Right now, I'm like have my like
from what you've read.
Right,
it's meter going. It's like that's
it's on my list though. It's on my radar.
It looks,
sure, I'm hyped for it.
Like the Division meets State of Decay meets like SnowRunner, like with the vehicles.
That's why it looks so appealing to me, is because it does look fantastic. So if they hit those marks, and we don't have another Division situation or Watchdog situation where what they show is not representative of what we actually get to gameplay. Look, if it's close to what they're showing us, I'm all in. I'm all about it. I think it looks fantastic.
I'll be all in too. Day one.
The history of this developer is not that promising. Right. So they've had other projects they've got funding on and like supposedly abandoned as well. There's some YouTube videos about this developer in this game that kind of shed a light potentially that, you know, I'm not gonna say like this is gonna fail. It's not gonna. I don't know. But I would just say everybody should also be mindful that just because it looks this way right now, there's a possibility that may not be what we get or ever get.
True.
Right.
Yeah. It kind of looks like DayZ, but they kind of bumped up their trailer to make it look good.
It looks for right now. My honest perspective is that it's got and I've seen this before with different games. It's got a little bit of that too good to be true aspect on there. Like this is like fucking mind blowing for a dev that's only made like these little like silly games and stuff. To be able to pull off something like this, maybe it's possible. I don't know. But it just seems like I have my guard up, but my hope high, but my guard up is very, very, very high as well on that project.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited for it. I really want to succeed.
Don't get too excited.
Hope it comes out exactly what they've been showing.
It'd be like maybe another No Man's Sky situation with that.
I advise.
Mav, are you trying to hype kill right now?
No, I'm just advising a wait and see approach.
Are you trying to? Oh, you're trying to do
just
that.
Like that abandoned shit that people got hyped up on PlayStation.
Nobody got hyped about that other than they thought it was Kojima. Okay, nobody else got hyped about the gameplay and what it looked like. It was about
people were saying, "Oh, it's going to be Silent Hill and all that."
Correct. They thought it was Kojima.
Yeah, I mean,
well, the PlayStation fans have been speculating a lot of stuff, and you know what? They don't really know actually.
Sometimes you can just kind of smell a snake. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. I don't know. You know what? It could come out and it could be like, "Wow, This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen and played, which is what it looks like right now, which is why I also am a little sus, right? Like,
the good news is we got so much to play right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if
It
one of
doesn't
those
matter.
happen, right? It really doesn't matter. So if it comes out and it's not what it is, shit, we'll have 10 other games waiting in line to play.
Mhm.
So
And
whatever.
the new test drive. I'm looking
Yep,
forward to that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, we got
Wow.
another $5 super chat from Lord Ruffness.
Yeah, go ahead, Mav. Shoot it.
Lord Ruff just hit us again, dude. Thank you so much. He says, wait, did Horizon Forbidden West and Gran Turismo come out?
Yeah, they came out underperforming.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But that's all right. It still looks like a great game. If I had a PS5, I would have
Yeah.
picked it up. But it definitely got overshadowed. Elden Ring
Elden
killed
Ring
off
killed
a
off.
lot. Yeah, Elden Ring did a lot of damage.
Stepped on its
And
throat.
also Gran Turismo got a lot of negativity right after launch. With
That was a great.
Yeah.
That was self-inflicted.
They're trying to
Transaction
fix
7
things now. They
back.
just made new announcements with their patches and changes coming.
Well, of course, they finally admitted that it's games as a service after they charged it every $70 for it. So
Yeah.
yeah, now they're gonna fix it.
$20
do
a
you
car.
all think? Do you all think that Returnal should have won the BAFTA for best game?
Did
No.
it?
I don't know. I can't say. I haven't played it. I can definitely tell you that the people who love it absolutely
Yeah.
freaking love it. So maybe it's one of those games that again people love and hate, but the obviously the reviewers loved it.
I'm looking forward to
So-
trying it with PS Plus Premium.
So am I. Yeah, exactly.
Are you really gonna pay for that, Mav?
If I have the extra money, what I'll do is buy the full year, because that's the same price as I pay for PS Plus anyway. And
They
because
should just knock it
I thought
down.
they
to
got rid of the
15.
year option, didn't they? You can't do the year.
no,
you
the
have to
year
do
they're
month?
gonna sell yearly on PS Plus Premium for $120, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's $9.99 a month, and for that, I think that's what it's worth, right? Honestly, I think that's all it's worth. And at that point, if I I'm looking at it like, okay, $120, I'll drop that, because I think that's like the way to go about it. At $17.99 a month, I wouldn't touch that shit with a 10-foot pole,
Right.
Drop it down to $10 a month, because there's no day and date. You still got the cloud saves behind paywall, and then also, like I said, you don't have Microsoft rewards, or sorry, Sony rewards. You don't have anything to throw in there as a more enticing deal. Now, if they had like that kind of stuff, then it would be a lot more forgiving. But the fact that they're willing to charge you for that, for back compat games, demos, and all that, like I told Mr. Boomstick, I was looking forward to getting PlayStation actually, but after that, that's just another slap in the face. I'm finally done with PlayStation. I'm just gonna wait until they come on my PC.
A lot of people are going to take that road for sure, but it's going to be wait and see. Again,
Yeah,
we touched on
won't,
that a
for
lot.
sure.
But
I mean, I'm still
yeah.
gonna get a
Yeah.
PlayStation again.
yeah,
Get that.
yeah.
But
If I got a PlayStation, I would do it too. But again, that's because I would play the backwards compatibility.
If I could get a PlayStation 5 digital, it'd be awesome, because they're like bloody unicorns, and I'm
Ne-
not getting the pregnant
The
one.
Just
next
play
one
on
I
PC.
get will be the digital for sure.
No thanks.
Because the other one just looks weird as shit. Just be honest with you, it does. But it's like the digital one, I think is a
No,
decent
it's
value
different.
for what it is, right?
Needs help.
So anyway,
Well, hey, look, man, 2 hours flew by, people. Holy cow.
Doesn't even feel like it.
I know. This is what happens on Xbox
You
Ultimate
mean
when we
we
get into
can't fit in
conversations.
The Witcher 4 or Tomb Raider 4?
Oh, what we're gonna
Oh
do
my
is we're
God.
gonna do. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing that's been announced. No,
It's
I
just
actually,
awesome.
I've got
Yeah.
something. Actually, Lupa, hold on and let me finish. Since this
Okay,
is my
baby.
show tonight, we're gonna do.
I know you keep saying,
we're-
but I will get it to go left at some
can we
point.
do
We're-
it? Can we do a
but
kill
we're-
it with
we're
Tomb
gonna-
Raider and
no,
Max
we're gonna-
Payne?
No, we're gonna do a little out. We're gonna do something different with the outro, because what I was gonna talk about is we had a lot of game announcements this week of old franchises coming back. So I'm gonna loop this in, and chat, I want you to listen up right now, because I want you to put in your selection as well into the chat, please. Mav, if you want to do a survey quick, you can do one
You
of
want
those.
me to get on a poll?
If you want to do a poll, man. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. So if you can do it real quick. So now listen carefully, because this is how we're going to do the outros. We're going to roll this into kind of our final topic. This week, for people who don't know, there was a lot of great older franchises announced to be coming back or new additions coming out, right? This was an awesome, awesome week for that. So we had Return to Monkey Island, right? Return to Monkey Island was announced by Devolver Digital, okay? That is freaking awesome. That goes back. This is one of Tim Schafer's original franchises as well. This goes back to LucasArts. It's been gone for a long time, but Return to Monkey Island is coming back.
It's actually
And
3, right? Return to Monkey Island 3.
Yep. Yeah, it's like they just said Return to Monkey Island, but it's directly after the last so technically it is 3, but it's been gone for so long that people forget about that. It's so funny. So Return to Monkey Island number 1. Okay, then we had, of course, Tomb Raider announced. Right? Tomb Raider, Crystal Dynamics during the UE5 Unreal Engine 5 presentation. Crystal Dynamics shows up out of the blue and says, guess what? We are working with Unreal Engine 5 on a brand new Tomb Raider game. Yes. So freaking amazing. So we got Return to Monkey Island, we got Tomb Raider. Then, of course, Remedy shows up. It says, by the way, we're partnering with Rockstar and we're going to go ahead and remake, not remaster, remake Max Payne 1 and 2, a franchise that is beloved by many in this community, myself included. Max Payne is coming back. They are going to remake 1 and 2 in partnership with Rockstar. That is fantastic. And then Criterion shows up on the scene and says, guess what? We're going to have a new Need for Speed. Now, this was more not just Criterion. It was more kind of a rumor situation, but it sounds legit. It sounds like this is happening. Criterion is ready to launch a new Need for Speed this year in November, and it's going to be current gen only. They are doing away with the old gen. So we've got 4 different games that were announced this week. Older franchises, beloved franchises. Huh?
The poll is up.
Poll is up. So my question, as we do these outros, before you do your outro, I want you guys to tell me which one you are most excited for out of this list of 4. In chat, go ahead. Start voting. Which one are you most excited about the announcements that happened this
It's done
week?
already. It's 100% Tomb Raider. See? I put my vote in. It's 100%. Yes.
So I think Caitlin currently is occupied with sleepover duties. I think she put that in the chat. So Caitlin, if you're here, let me know that I'm wrong. But otherwise, I think she is out of the picture. So we're gonna start with TJ because he is our guest this evening. So TJ, I want you to tell me, first of all, tell everybody which one of those 4 you're excited for and give me a quick reason as to why that one makes you most excited. And then go ahead. Thank you, first of all, for showing up and being here, a part of Xbox Ultimate tonight, brother. It was great to get you out of the chat and onto the show finally. It's great to hear your thoughts, your opinions. It was amazing. Thank you for joining us. And then tell everybody where they can find you at, what you got going on. But first things first, tell us which one of those 4 you're most excited for and why, sir.
Yeah, I'm most excited for. I didn't even know that they were announcing Need for Speed, to be honest. So hearing that from you really makes me happy because I do want a new Need for Speed. I just hope it's better than Heat. That's one I'm most excited for, but I'm also excited for Tomb Raider. I just had to throw that real quick.
Fair enough. Not a problem. Where can everybody find you, sir?
You can find me at DrawnTJ450 on Twitter. You can follow me also on Xbox, which is just regular DrawnTJ. And you can also follow me on YouTube, where I'm always in everybody's podcast, supporting every content creator because everybody is a pillar of this community, regardless.
It's awesome, man. You do support a lot.
You guys let me on this podcast. I really do.
No,
and you guys are all awesome.
Great to have you here, brother.
Bro. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It was great to have you on here. All right, Lupa. I think I already know which one you're going to vote for, but which one of those 4 are you most excited for and why? The suspense is killing us all, obviously. Okay. And then tell everybody where they can find your wonderful self, please.
Well, I have to say, I have to vote for the most awesomest, first ever women of gaming Tomb Raider. Lara is my dream.
Oh, that was Miss Pac-Man.
Never.
Jasper.
She was late to the party.
This Pac-Man.
Thought it was Gasonic actually, but that's all right.
What did you just say?
You heard me.
You
Go on.
just
Where,
bring
where everybody can find you, Lupa. That's what I said.
Yeah. What? That was a big get that damn blue thing off my podcast. That's what Mav should be saying.
Damn blue hedgehog.
That damn blue hedgehog back again. Every damn podcast it gets a mention. And then I put my reward screen up to do my rewards and the bloody thing's staring at me. It's like, what? Get off of there.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that movie. We're gonna go see Sonic 2.
Yeah. Anyway, you can all find me at AssassinLupa on Twitter, at AssassinLupa on Xbox Party Live if you want to hit me up to game. And here every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and 2 a.m. UK time. And we can all have some fun, chat. You've been awesome. TJ, thank you very much for coming on. It's been great to meet you and chat with you. And family, I love you and miss you every week. And Caitlin, I wish you were here, but you're not because you're busy. And Lady,
Thank you, Lupa.
I miss you too. And 3-Bit, hope to see you soon. And I love you all. And I'll catch you all gaming.
Thanks, Lupa. That was amazing. And I was so shocked by your Tomb Raider pick. I almost fell out of my chair. I can't believe it. Anyways, Jasper, lore master, brother, which one of those four is tickling your fancy? And where can everybody find you?
If I want to be like unique, I would say Age of Mythology, but that's not on the list.
No, it's not, sir.
It wasn't announced,
Max-
right? Not yet.
Wasn't
It
announced.
but Max Payne 1 and 2, I guess, because I haven't really dived too much into Max Payne franchise, so like be interesting to kind of hop into there.
I like
Um,
that.
before your
Enthusiasm,
time.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can check me out at Lore Jasper on Twitter and Lore Master Jasper on YouTube. Wednesdays is Fun Pop and Xbox Ultimate is Fridays, so check them out.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you being here, man. I always appreciate your thoughts as well. The mellow fellow from outer space, Mr. Psychosnauts himself. I don't know if he fell asleep or not because he's been quiet for an awful long time here. Oh, he was just getting his groovy voice on. Okay.
You can tell it's like a puff of smoke coming from
Yep.
behind his head right there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like
Yeah, just
Gandalf's
Me and
behind him.
Gandalf were just, chilling, smoking on a pipe.
So, Psychonauts, you sexy mofo, which one of those four is going to tickle your fancy, brother? And then where can everybody find you?
Is this a sex hotline? It's like, what's going on?
That's what I was gonna say.
Call 1-800-LOCAL
That is
singles.
the best. That is the best. Thanks, Pong.
A 1-900
No,
long dong pong. For...
I'm probably I'm excited for Tomb Raider because the graphic that they used was a throwback to the original Tomb Raider. So if they are going back as a reboot again and giving us a remaster or the storyline of the first Tomb Raider, yeah, that is what everyone fell in love with. The new ones are fantastic. I love them.
Really, I thought it was the 2 polygons.
Everybody liked the pointiness.
The triangles.
Yeah.
The pyramids, I should say.
Yeah, pyramids. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. But that exciting. I want to fight a bear again. I want to fight a T-Rex. If there's a T-Rex in a trailer, the internet's gonna fucking explode. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah. Chat, thanks for coming out. You guys are awesome. Panel, love you guys. Miss 3-Bit and Lady, but one day we'll have everyone here again, and you can find me everywhere. Psychonauts 8 on social medias, and Wednesdays Fun Pop at 7:00 here every Fridays at 9 with the great 8.
Thank
You
you,
always mess that up.
sir.
You're
He
like,
does. He's always got to
I
think
know,
about it. He pauses.
I know, because I'm like, I want to say because Magnificent Seven is just
Dramatic.
rolls off the tongue.
Get stuck in your head, doesn't it,
Roll.
Psycho? I've always wanted to say that.
And the ex-host of this show before the coup happened and I took over. Mav, Snot Nose, what's going on, brother? Thank you for being here despite you almost on your deathbed this evening. I'm just glad you could show up and give some input, brother. I appreciate you so much. Which one of those 4 are you most hyped about, brother? And what else you got going on this week, sir?
Pong, I don't really. No. Hey, first I want to say, hey, chat, you guys rock. I'm gonna end the poll also.
All right.
But
Got 20 votes.
Yeah. Thank you all for being here and this experiment of letting Pong Soul try and rein us in this show. You know, I was nervous because like I couldn't really talk for too long earlier without cutting out. Pong did a great job, I think. Everybody and Pong do a great job. Can we give Pong a round of applause?
In the chat for Pong, everyone.
Thank you, Pong.
Like I'm a rookie at this, right?
No,
Yeah, let's
thank
go.
you, Pong, for filling in and you know, taking the reins of it. Now you made me look bad though, so I'm a little pissed off. You know, because now next week we're gonna have a shit show and it's gonna be like all over the place. We're gonna go left and all this stuff, and it's like, where was that well structured thing that we saw last week? So hey, to new.
I think that's why people show up here though. People might like actually love that though. So
you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for anybody watching this show, hey, you know, this is probably a little bit more well put together than it normally is. So I want to apologize for next week, and but no, for real, thank you all in the chat for hanging out tonight, and every one of you guys for being here. John TJ, you freaking rock here today, dude. You did a great job, I have to say. I don't know how many podcasts you've done. I know I caught you on Booms once, but yeah, I thought you did a really good job.
Retro Renegades
as well.
Gaming Circle podcast, and also Mr. Boomsticks, and now yours.
Yeah, right on, dude. Checking those boxes. There you go. So as far as the games, okay, so you know, I have to kind of agree with the poll, and also some of you guys. Number one for me is Tomb Raider, because I've always loved the Tomb Raider games, and it's one of those like classic franchises. So anytime you see like a new take on it, it gets exciting. The fact that it's Unreal Engine 5 and everything. But I will add this little asterisk: if they can actually come out with a good Need for Speed game, right? If they can actually do it justice and bring that franchise back, it used to be such an amazing experience, and it like dating back to the first one that I first played on a 3DO. Right,
Underground.
That game had so many different iterations that it was great. Like you said, yeah, Underground and Underground 2. You know, I mean, you had so many different classic Need for Speed games out there, and the franchise has lost its way. Right, over the last decade, it's just kind of spiraled into nothing almost. It still has its name, but that's all it is right now. Criterion has done a great job in the past with Burnout, right? Like Burnout Paradise.
And
I believe was them, and
Need for Speed.
and they've done some good
Codemasters
things
now too. So.
Yeah, and I think that it has a lot of hope for me now with EA and how they're treating some of their franchises. So I have a lot of hope for this. So if they could really bring it back, then it's going to be like up there for me. But as of right now, it's going to stand at Tomb Raider. And hey guys, you know, you can find me here as always, streaming games, playing games. I'm gonna maybe stream tonight. I don't know. Maybe I will stream some Godfall and check out how that is. And Xbox Ultimate. We got PM in the PM. We might have a good guest next week for PM in the PM. Pong, I got to talk to you about that. And also Tuesdays is going to be the new night for FSP. And as Jasper said, Wednesdays for Fun Pop. So appreciate everybody tuning into Fun Speculation and what we got going on here. And now the man with the longest outro in the game, the man that has not only supplanted himself as a key member of many podcasts, including multiple on this channel. Now he has supplanted me as the host of this podcast today. And Appreciate you doing that again, dude. Thanks for bailing me out.
Yeah.
Where can everybody find you, sir?
Absolutely, brother. It was amazing. First of all, we do have 2 final super chats here that came in, of course, from Caper Grant 692, brother member for 11 months. Thank you for being a member here of Fun Speculation. He says, fantastic show, guys and gals. Appreciate you, brother, for stopping in and checking us out as always. And then $10 from the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Vic, the Click. That's right. And he has a fantastic, the best comment of the evening. He said, Pong, I love your new podcast. What's Mav talking about filling in? LOL. Love you guys. Amazing episode.
Thanks,
that's right, Vic the Click. This is my new podcast. I'm here permanently hosting this show. So no, anyways, brother, I appreciate it so much for giving me the chair and having the confidence in me to do this. I always love it. Of course, you did that with PM and the PM, and I couldn't tell you thank you enough for that as well. It's a great experience to do this.
But
of course,
Pong, he even like Vic the Click is so awesome
Yeah.
that he even like did an additional super chat of $2 just to be more inclusive to the community.
guys and
I
ladies.
think he ran out of words on the first one.
Yeah.
Probably.
He said
Guys
guys
and
and ladies. So thanks. Thanks for
Thanks, Vic.
acknowledging the ladies here as well, Vic. You're awesome,
Appreciate
dude.
He is awesome. He is amazing. You know who else is amazing? John TJ, thank you again, sir, for being here. Great guest. Awesome time having you here and hearing your
Appreciate it.
thoughts. Yeah, no, man. Appreciate you being here for sure. And family, of course, love all of you. This is what I look forward to. It's an awesome time to be here in the captain's chair. But I just love you guys. You know, you're my extended family, and I just love being here each and every Friday night talking to you all about video games, man. And you're right. We didn't go left this tonight, but you know what? That's cool too. We had a smooth conversation, went fast, and everybody was involved. And I love that feeling coming on here on Xbox Ultimate and chat. Always so appreciative of you. You all know that. That's where I started out before I ever started podcasting. So again, when I see all these familiar faces and even some new ones coming in here and all the kind words, really, bottom of my heart, love you all. Nothing but respect. But you know what? You can find me Pong Soul, Xbox. You can find me on Twitter. You can do both of those. Follow me. I'll follow you back. Personal milestone. I hit 2,500 on Twitter. So thank you all for following me there. Never thought I would have seen that number when I jumped into this community. So again, thank you. That's just crazy to me, but appreciate every single one of you.
Yeah, me too. What the hell are people thinking? I'm just kidding.
I would like to say one thing.
Yeah, go ahead,
By the
TJ.
way, chat, if you like this channel, just ask Mav or Pong, just DM them. Well, add them first on Twitter, please. Do that first. Then ask them if you have thoughts about what you want to say, but you don't want to break the bank in super chats. All you have to do is just ask them nicely. And I'm pretty sure if they have someone that's out or they don't have someone to fill in for the spot, they'll most likely let you on. As long as you're, good. You're not like a crazy person. But
Mav is the man for that. Do not DM me with that. Mav controls this kingdom still. Let's not get out of line.
Everybody
here.
DM Pong.
Everybody should support this channel. It's a great channel. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button. It's a great channel. It's great info, great news, and great game talk.
Appreciate that, TJ. Thank you for adding that in. Absolutely, man. So you guys can find me tomorrow morning. Set those alarms. Living split screen. Back again. Look, we're going to have a great time. 3+ hours. So buckle up. 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, live, raw, and uncut, like my brother Steel Rain always says. So be there, bring a friend, tell a friend. I will be tweeting it out. Make sure you share it, please, and thank you. It helps us. We are on mission 1K. Living split screen tomorrow morning. Split screen, all one word. Can't wait to see you all there. And then obviously tomorrow night, the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam, Fuzzy Belvedere, and myself. That's on PTK Blam's channel. Just look up the Shop Podcast. You will find it. He's been doing it for over 5 years. We're going to have a great time tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time, Tuesdays. Look, Xbox Factor Podcast. I am still a panel member. However, I'm going to be very inconsistent, but that's a great show no matter who's on there. Mav is on there when he can be. Box and Burger's on there almost all the time when he can be. VJ, Mr. Joanna Dark, and of course, the man himself, Mr. Boomstick. Everybody knows him. Please join us on the Xbox Factor podcast. It's just real life is getting in my way. So it's going to be hit and miss for me. But Tuesdays is the place where you want to hear all good things green, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time over on Double Barrel Gaming. That is the channel. Thursday night, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. That's right. Two-man show. Like Mav said, we have guests. We just had 3-Bit on last night. Again, the rare sighting of a 3-Bit. He actually was on our show, and he actually stayed for the whole thing, and he had great conversation
It's
with
almost
us.
like we found an
really-
all-digital PS5. I mean, it was
I know,
that rare.
right? It was that rare. It was definitely a unicorn for
Yeah.
sure. But anyways, it was a great show. So go check out last night's episode, especially the Unreal 5 talk. 3-Bit there, somebody who knows all about that. It was a great conversation with him. So please go check out PM in the PM. But we will be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, me and Mav. And of course, I will be back here next week because now I am the captain and I am running Xbox Ultimate. So I will be here and I will be in the captain's chair again.
Fake news.
Hopefully,
Genghis
Mav will be
Pong
sick
is added
again
next
next
to
week.
his empire.
That's fake.
Yeah.
This is Genghis Pong taking over
He's getting
Xbox
it.
Ultimate.
Man,
That's
his,
right.
his Crusader Kings 3 gameplay is like starting to make its way into the podcasting kingdoms now.
Exactly. Taking over everything.
I
Look,
think Pong's long dong's getting too long.
is that what it is? Okay. All right, Lupa. That's
Oh,
fine.
Lupa.
Again, nobody would give me that nickname if they knew me in real life. Anyway, look, it's the golden age of gaming,
You say that
everybody.
every time. I just protest too much.
It is the golden age of gaming. Please get out there and enjoy some of this stuff, including Godfall or Tiny Tina's Wonderlands or Elden Ring or whatever the heck you're playing right now. Enjoy it and don't let anybody steal your hype for what you are loving about this industry. Please play what you love what you play. And we're going to talk to you all real soon. Have a great rest of your weekend. Xbox Ultimate. That's right. Episode 83 is in the books. Thank you all for being here. Mav, get us the heck out of here, brother.
Hey, Mav, I got it a little bit left.
Yeah, that was nice. I'm gonna go downstairs now and eat some burger. Have a good one, guys.
Don't have a hot dog.
Raw burger. He's going to
Yeah.
eat raw burger. That's what he's going to do.
See you guys.
Her burger.
Hey, all you speculators out there, love you all. Have a good one. Bye bye.
See you later,
Bye,
motherfuckers.
speculators. Catch you
You
all
guys.
gaming.